October, and that it contributed to an overall 3,500 fewer animals' lives taken this year in LA City shelters compared to the same period last year. The department calls these developments a giant step toward the city's no-kill goal. And now the city's animal officials are calling on Angelenos to help make the month of December the first month in LA history that 0 healthy or treatable animals are killed in LA animal shelters. They say people can help by adopting or fostering shelter pets. After going on strike just days after Thanksgiving, clerical workers at the twin ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach and their port employers, with the help of a federal mediator, finally reached an agreement that put an end to the 8-day strike.
I am very happy to announce that we settled the strike at the port. I mentioned that I went 56 straight hours without sleep. We were on a trade mission. We had gone to Santiago, Chile. We went to Bogota, Colombia, for one reason: to sell the port, to sell the airport.
The strike left 10,000 longshoremen who chose not to cross the picket line without work for the duration of the strike, and left the nation's largest port complex at a standstill. Cargo estimated at billions of dollars had also sat undelivered. The strike is the largest work stoppage at the ports since shipping companies locked workers out for 10 days in 2002. The Cirque du Soleil show Iris, which opened in September 2011 at Hollywood and Highlands Dolby Theater, what was the Kodak Theater, is set to close its run January 19th due to disappointing ticket sales. The show opened at the theater with a $30 million loan from the city of LA, with many city leaders believing the show would be a Los Angeles staple, drawing locals and tourists for years to come. A spokeswoman for the theater's owner, CIM Group, said the loan from the city will be repaid even though the show is folding its tent. LA City officials joined the Hollywood Sign Trust recently to unveil the new and improved Hollywood sign, which underwent an extensive 9-week restoration process that cost $175,000, most of which was handled by Sherwin-Williams, which donated the paint. Each letter took about 100 gallons of paint. The repaint was the sign's most extensive refurbishment in 3 decades. The process involved removing existing coatings from the sign, pressure washing the letters, and applying up to 5 coats of paint in some places. A recreation center in Hollywood gets a little outdoor sprucing up. Rasha Goel has more on the improvements, including a brand new basketball court.
Treasure it. Don't trash it. Take care of this. If you see somebody doing something wrong, I don't want you to be pleased, but just say, hey, this is like your backyard.
John Muckery, general manager of the Los Angeles Department of Recreation and Parks, is referring to the refurbished basketball court at the Hollywood Recreation Center. Thanks to a recent grant, the formerly tattered basketball court now looks new.
The surface was really kind of bumpy and slippery, and the community would come out here and play, and they would fall, and the rims had to be changed regularly.
A $10,000 grant was provided by the Sprite Spark Parks Project, a program which helps refresh park spaces in communities across the nation.
By the end of last year, Sprite gave more than $2 million in donations to spark 150 neighborhood parks, athletic fields, playgrounds, and basketball courts.
This year, Sprite partnered with the National Recreation and Park Association to offer grants to help refresh basketball courts. The Hollywood Recreation Center was one of 25 parks to receive the grant, which helped revamp this basketball court. Some of the improvements include installation of new poles, backboards, and rims. Other improvements include resurfacing and restripping the court.
When they came in and did this, it was a blessing. It was a blessing. I mean, it was just tremendous.
I discovered this court about a couple weeks ago, and I've been coming down here ever since. I really like the vibe and the energy that is portrayed here, too, as well.
And who knows, perhaps this basketball court could be a practice place for a future NBA basketball player. In Hollywood, I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
A new pool is also being put in at the Hollywood Rec Center right across from the basketball court, something facility directors say community members are very excited about. In this week's list of things to do, the Los Angeles Children's Chorus performs music from around the globe, a Stanley Kubrick film series, and a 5K run walk downtown. LACMA is presenting, in conjunction with the landmark Stanley Kubrick exhibition, a complete and chronological survey of the director's films. An innovator behind the scenes as well as on screen, Kubrick changed the public perspective of the Hollywood auteur. Though many of his films were met with some confusion or even outright hostility during their initial releases, they have become touchstones for filmgoers, filmmakers, artists, musicians, and mass culture alike. Go to LACMA.org for a complete list of the screening dates, but on Friday, December 14th, The Shining will be screened at 7:30 p.m. LACMA is located at 5905 Wilshire Boulevard. Join Homeboy Industries Saturday, December 15th for a great morning in the park for a 5K run walk. Registration fees will go to support Homeboy Industries, which offers men and women formerly involved in gangs an opportunity to work and get their lives back on track. The race steps off at 8 a.m. with registration and check-in opened at 6 a.m. at Los Angeles State Historic Park, located at 1245 North Spring Street, downtown. Participants will receive a free event t-shirt, a goodie bag, and a certificate for a free beverage in the Homegirl Cafe or Homeboy Bakery. For registration fees and other information, go to homeboyindustries.org. The renowned Los Angeles Children's Chorus will be showcasing music from around the globe on Sunday, December 16th at their 27th annual winter concert. The 7 p.m. concert will be held at the Pasadena Presbyterian Church, located at 585 East Colorado Boulevard in Pasadena. The program opens with Sing We Joy, composed in 1513 in England, and features folk songs from South Africa, Austria, Japan, and France as well. For ticket prices and additional information, go to lachildrenschorus.org. And that's a look at some upcoming things to do. Mexican culture and music in the spotlight at the recent Mariachi Festival. Rasha Goel takes us to Boyle Heights, where music brought those from all walks of life together to enjoy the diversity of LA.
22 years and the Boyle Heights Mariachi Festival is still going strong. For more than 2 decades, the event has helped bring together people across Los Angeles and beyond for a day of food, activities, and mariachi music.
And it's a great tradition for us. We have some of the best mariachi to come out and give a free concert.
The festival was held at the Mariachi Plaza, a historic landmark in Boyle Heights, where mariachi bands have been gathered since the 1930s.
It's communal. A lot of people who come from Mexico, they go to their plazas, and something very similar is happening. They saw this in Mexico, so for them, it's great for them to come out and get that feel of where they're from in Mexico or Latin America.
For Councilmember Jose Huizar, who was born in Mexico, it is a way of helping promote the culture and tradition he grew up with.
I love this music, and I just want to make sure that our kids continue to appreciate it as much as I did.
For the young and old, it's an event they will always remember. From Los Angeles, I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
The Mariachi Festival is sponsored in part by the City of LA's Department of Cultural Affairs and Councilmember Jose Huizar's office. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ellen Chang. A reminder that you could catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Hi, I am Los Angeles City Attorney Carmen Trutanich. I am here to talk about the problem of counterfeiting and piracy. It goes beyond the manufacture and sale of cheap, unauthorized goods. Such crimes impact legitimate businesses, employment, and even public safety. The money a consumer pays for a counterfeit or pirated item may very well be financing even more serious criminal activity, like gang crime. I'm doing everything in my power to protect the citizens of Los Angeles, but I also need your help. Please do not purchase these items. Together, we will combat these illegal practices and make Los Angeles a better and safer city. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nina. This is my daughter Miranda, and we live in Silver Lake. We love the cultural diversity of Los Angeles. You're watching LA City View, Channel 35. Our city, our channel.
Good morning. Good morning. I want to welcome you to your Los Angeles City Council meeting. My name is Herb Wesson. I'll be today's presiding officer. The City Council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. The public is welcome. With that said, Madam Clerk, I believe we have a quorum. If you could please call the roll.
Alarcon, Buscaino, Cardenas, Englander, Garcetti, Huizar, Crest, Krikorian, Labange, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Zion, Wesson. 11 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, first order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Labange moves, Englander seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Ms. Perry moves, Mr. Rosendahl seconds.
Mr. President, today is Tuesday, and now would be the time for the flag salute.
Okay, could everyone in the council chambers please rise? We'll be led in the flag salute today by Ms. Perry.
Place your right hand over your heart and begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. At this time, Madam Clerk, we should begin going through today's agenda. If you could please start off.
Item 1 is a lien notice for public hearing. I believe Councilmember Zine has a motion, amending motion. Perhaps you might want to hold that on the desk.
Okay, why don't we hold on to that? Mr. Zine, please come let me know what's happening on that item. If we could go through the next series of agenda items.
Items 2 through 6 are items for which public hearings have been held.
Do we have member specials? Miss
Item 3, please.
Item 3 for Ms. Perry. Members, any other specials? Okay, let's prepare to vote on the other items. We will be holding item 3. Madam Clerk, if you would please open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes. 13 ayes.
Ms. Perry. Ms. Perry?
2 also.
Okay, let's reconsider item 2. So now this vote is on reconsideration. Let's open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, that's been reconsidered. So we will hold item 2 for Ms. Perry as well. If we could go through the next section.
Got it.
Items 7 through 40 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes required for consideration.
Okay, without objection, those items are now before us.
There's a request to continue item 34 to January 2nd.
Okay, without objection. If we could, do we have cards?
Cards on items 7 and 28.
Okay, members' specials. We'll hold those 2 items. Mr. Garcetti?
I know it's called special for cards, but 28 if you could put me down as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Reyes? 25, Mr. Reyes holds item 25.
Hold that desk.
Mr. Huizar?
31 special, please.
Okay. 31 for Mr. Huizar. If we could, Mr. Rosendahl.
Yes, 32. I'm going to hold at the desk. We're passing around a technical note.
No problem. So we'll hold item 32 for Mr. Rosendahl. If we could please, for a moment, take Mr. Cardenas off the queue, off the board. Mr. Cardenas. Okay. So now let's vote on the remaining items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay. Next.
Item 41 is a closed session item. Do you wish to hold that on the desk?
Okay. Mr. Krikorian is not here as of yet, so let's hold it. Oh, Mr. Krikorian, I will hold 41, let you get settled, and then I'll defer back to you. So where does that bring us on today's agenda? Have we completed it?
On the supplemental agenda, items 42 through 50 are items for which public hearings have been held.
Have been held. Okay, Ms. Perry.
50, please.
I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
50.
Okay, Ms. Perry wants to hold item 50. Mr. Rosendahl, could you repeat that?
Special.
Okay, Mr. Rosendahl. So are there, Madam Clerk, any items left to vote on in that section?
Yes, Mr.
Okay, Mr. Weezer.
45 for an amending motion, please.
Okay, Mr. Weezer wants to hold 45. Mr. Weezer, when will the amending motion be circulated?
Relatively soon. So
Okay. All right, with that said, let's vote on the remaining items. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, that brings us where?
Item 51 is an item for which a public hearing has not been held. 10 votes required for consideration.
Any cards?
No cards.
Okay, members. Okay, let's then open the roll, Madam Clerk. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, next.
Mr. President, that takes council to items called special.
Okay, Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. The video, which we will start this presentation with a video.
20 years of making
look
big
at the
wishes.
monitors. Yeah, we can start that from the beginning, please.
20 years of making big wishes come true. ABC7, Southern California firefighters, and you help local children feel the spark of love. Donate online or find other ways to give at abc7.com/community. Thanks for keeping the spark alive.
And joining me, Channel 7, ABC News Los Angeles. Come on down. The crew, the president, general manager, the ELF, the staff, the firefighters that are here. Come on down, gentlemen. Today I am honored to present to you ABC7 for the 20th anniversary of the Spark of Love toy drive. For 20 years, ABC7, Channel 7, the #1 news station in all of Southern California. You like that, Arnie?
I like that.
You like that? Have been doing this continuously for 20 years. Joining me is ABC7's President General Manager Arnold J. Kleiner. Mr. Arnold J. Kleiner, the man, a good friend to Southern California, not just LA, but the entire region. The weather anchor, Garth Kemp, a.k.a. Garth the Elf. There he is, Garth Kemp. Toys for everybody. The assignment editor, Julie Sohn. Julie? Where are you, Julie? Right there, there's Julie. Public Affairs Director, Teresa Samanigo. Teresa. Diane Medina, VP of Diversity and Community Relations, and our LA City firefighters, all here. Thank you. The Spark of Love campaign collects new unwrapped toys and sports equipment for underserved children and teens in Los Angeles, San Bernardino, Orange, Ventura, and Riverside counties. Over the past 2 decades, 20 years, ABC7 has teamed up with Southern California firefighters in many, many fire departments in the region, and the Spark of Love toy drive has successfully collected more than 7 million toys. More than 7 million toys, and Garth has stuffed those toys into buses that they've delivered around to the many, many children in the region. All the toys collected in the respective counties are distributed locally. This year, their goal is to exceed last year's collection of 500,000 toys. While he's here, I have to embarrass Arnie Kleiner a little bit. Arnie is a very humble man. I must point out that he truly cares about the station, his crew, and the people of this region, the people who work for him, and the community that surrounds this region. Under Arnie's guidance and leadership, ABC7 continues to be a socially conscious and charitable television station that supports important community causes through its programming and campaigns, such as ABC Listens, Feed SoCal, Pay It Forward, Operation Gratitude, and the Spark of Love toy drive. And Garth joined ABC7 in 1998 as a teenager, does a great deal of charitable work for the community. His Adopt a Pet segment on Eyewitness News has helped many animals find new homes. For years, Garth has dressed up as an elf for Sparkle Love Toy Drive and helped collect toys for underprivileged children during the holiday season. Julie deserves major recognition for coordinating all the locations and logistics for this massive undertaking. And we thank Diane for her continued efforts at ABC7, her office on this campaign, and for having a hand in all of the charitable and community events that take place year-round. And the Sparkle Love Toy Drive was Teresa's brainchild 20 years ago. This year, ABC7 kicked off the Sparkle Love Toy Drive on November 30th. They will continue to hold events across the Southland through December 21st, and there is a great need to get toys this holiday season. This Friday, December 14th, Garth the Elf and I will be at Westfield Topanga for a Stuff-A-Bus event that'll be at the corner of Topanga and Victory. The public's welcome to come out, and Garth will be there all day. I will have to come down to council, but I'll be there early in the morning. It starts at 4:30 in the morning until 6:30 in the evening. The team will be in the parking lot, again at Topanga and Victory, trying to stuff as many buses as possible to fill those buses, and we want multiple buses filled with the great people from the San Fernando Valley bringing those toys out. So I encourage you to bring a new unwrapped toy or sports equipment. Come out and meet Garth. He is a very personable man. He will be there all day in his elf suit, and it may be raining, so he'll be there in his elf suit with an umbrella taking the donations. If you can't make it this Friday, please visit ABC7 website for a complete listing of events and ways you can donate. And we do have the certificate of recognitions, the resolutions for the crew for the great work that they do. And the first one here goes to Teresa. To Julie. How about Garth? You get your own, Garth? Humble Arnold, Jay Kleiner, General Manager, President of ABC7. And like Ed Roski rides a Harley Davidson. And we have ABC7 and Southern California Firefighter Sparkle Love Drive. Congratulations to ABC7 Southern California Firefighters for 20 years of bringing joy to underserved children and teens through the Sparkle Love Toy Drive. Over the past 2 decades, your efforts have resulted in the collection and distribution of more than 7 million toys. Truly inspiring campaign continues to ignite a spark of love in hearts across the Southland. Best wishes for continued growth and success. Diane, for you. And what we have now is comments. We'll start with Arnie Kleiner, which I think is appropriate since he is the president who brings all these people to us and to this great community of Los Angeles. And the reason Channel 7 is number one, because they care about the people, not only the people that work for Channel 7, but the people of this great region. And Carlos is there covering the story for Channel 7. Maybe you should come up here so they can see your face, Carlos. So Arnie will know you're working today. All right, there you go. Arnie Kleiner, President, General Manager, ABC7.
Mr. Zine, before the President speaks, I'd like to recognize Mr. Rosendahl.
Yes, Arnie, I've known you for a long time in my private sector life and also in my public sector. And as Dennis said, you are a humble spirit. You're very unassuming when you do things, but you do it with gentleness and kindness. And this toy drive is another example of you giving back to community, what most people realize is critical these days. When you see those kids' eyes light up and they get those toys. We just did one the other day for the police, and they do a big event. But you're incredibly great, and I just want to, from the heart, thank you for all you've done for all of us. Bless you. Thank you.
Mr. Labange.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zine. Oh, Betsy, I'm sorry. Madam Clerk, my shortest speech ever. There's a toy.
And it was appreciated. Miss Perry.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to also acknowledge Mr. Kleiner and his team for the work that they've done willingly and without hesitation on disaster relief for Katrina, for the tsunami, for Haiti, to be able to join with us in the Salvation Army to raise money from the community directly on the street and to do it with a great deal of enthusiasm, and it's very much appreciated. So thank you.
Mr. Huizar.
Thank you, Mr. President. Arnie, I just want to congratulate you and your team, not only with the Spark of Love, but the many community events you have, like having the forums in the community to listen from the community as to what they would like to see on television and on your news. So thank you so much for the work you do. And that gentleman standing behind you, that short elf, I know it's the holiday season when I see him jumping around the screen every holiday. And that's how I know Christmas has arrived. So thank you so much.
And Mr. President, I want to thank you and Garth and the whole team for all of the phenomenal things that you do for the young people in the city of Los Angeles, county of Los Angeles. And I want to remind you that Mr. Labange, Mr. Reyes, and I will be at your facility this Thursday at 8:30. And in advance, I'm requesting that you make sure that I have a mic. Remember, I was a little mic challenged the last time, so I'm giving you a few days to make sure. I want a real good mic. Okay. Anyway, with that said, it's good to see you. The floor is yours, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll be very quick. I know you have a big agenda. Personally, I'm honored and humbled that you would honor us this way. We learned a long time ago at Channel 7 that if you want to do well, you have to do good. And that's our goal. If we do good, the well will take care of itself. And it's just, I have wonderful, wonderful people that work with me at the station. It's a great place. I don't have anything else to say. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, guys. Let's give them another round of applause. Thank you so very much.
Hi, everybody. I'll make it quick. I'm the giant elf. Go SC! We have a lot of fun doing this every year. It's been a long time, and we really appreciate all the toys. If you hadn't had a chance to come out and catch our Spark of Love, we invite you to come on out. It really is a great time. We have one more chance out by the congressman's or by the councilman's area out on Topanga Canyon, Westfield Shopping Mall. It's a lot of fun. We're hoping to stuff at least 6 buses. Last week in Cerritos, we did 8, which was good. Yeah, it's 2 years from now. He'll be that. So come on out and join us. Bring a toy. It is a lot of fun. We really appreciate all this. And I guess at this point in time, I've probably announced my intent to run for mayor of L.A. We good to go with that? SC? All right. Thank you all.
I think you ought to keep the job that you have.
On behalf of all the children that we serve, I just want to say thank you to all of you for acknowledging the Spark of Love 20th anniversary. And obviously, like Arnie said, this is a collaborative effort, and we do work for the best president and general manager in Los Angeles. Thank you so much, Arnie, for giving us the tools that we need to make this a success.
Thank you, Mr. President. And again, we want to acknowledge ABC7 and the great crew. And I will be there this coming Friday morning with Garth. So come on down. In an elf suit. I will definitely have something on festive for that. What are you laughing for, Jose? Mr. Huizar? You'll be there too, huh? But Mr. President, thank you very much. And please come out this Friday. Garth will be there all day collecting toys, so please come out and visit, and we're going to go back and do some photos in the back. So, Mr. President, thank you very much. Colleagues, thank you, and happy holidays to all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And it's my understanding, Miss Perry, it's my understanding on item 3 that we can now take that up. Is that accurate? Okay, so before Miss Perry begins her presentation, if Madam Clerk, if we could vote on item 3, and it's my understanding that the few cards on those items have been pulled. So on item 3, if we could open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, now also I've been informed that we have to reconsider items. Madam Clerk, if you could tell me what 3 items those are that we have to reconsider.
Items 20, 27, and 33 for cards.
Okay, so let's vote on reconsideration of those items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, and today, Madam Clerk, all items will move forthwith. With that said, Ms. Perry for a presentation.
Councilwoman, it's okay to leave that right there? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Or you want to hold on to it there?
Tony, thank you.
Okay. All right. You want to? Can you shift? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'm joined by Council members Reyes and Rosendahl to welcome Russell Barnett, Vice President of Marketing at Gardein, and Priya Jones, Community Manager at Gardein, to our City Council. They are also joined by Chef Jason Stefanko to share a meatless meal with the City Council today. After hearing about the Council passing the resolution that Council Member Reyes and I introduced to encourage Los Angelinos to consider Meatless Mondays, Gardein contacted us and offered to share how going meatless could be easy and local. In fact, Gardein is not only providing a meal today, they are investing in our city. They are opening a community kitchen in Marina del Rey next month.
No, it's Venice.
Well, it's Venice?
Yes.
Okay, Venice, correction. It is in Venice, in the city of Los Angeles,
Correct.
in Mr. Rosendahl's district. They will be working with local chefs to showcase delicious ways to eat their meatless options and invite the community to experience a different way to go meatless. And as part of their commitment to the concepts behind Meatless Mondays, they will be partnering with a community garden. The concept behind Meatless Mondays is a push towards awareness of how our food supply affects our environment and our own personal health. Meatless Mondays is about awareness of where your food comes from and being more conscious of what we put in our bodies and how we treat our planet. Lowering our meat consumption is also good for the environment. Meat production requires staggering amounts of land, water, and energy compared to plant-based diets. So today, Gardein is helping us support this goal by offering us healthy meatless options. I want to thank Gardein for their support, and I'm particularly thankful that they have chosen to invest in our city in Venice, in Council District 11. So I'd like to invite Mr. Rosendahl to speak, and then Mr. Reyes.
Thank you very much, Jan Perry, and thank you for taking a strong position about health, and especially about veganism. I'm thrilled that a business in my district is taking the lead in promoting healthier lifestyles in the city of Los Angeles. Gardein is only a few years old, founded in 2006, and has quickly achieved success with its award-winning line of meat-free foods. Here's the exciting part coming from my perspective as a representative of the 11th District. Next month, Gardein will officially unveil a new test kitchen in the Oxford Triangle section of Venice. The Oxford Triangle is a beautiful section of Venice, and they're going to be opening it up right there. Everybody's proud about it in Venice, and it will officially unveil a new kitchen, and the company, along with the Los Angeles chefs, plan to develop new foods made with soy, grains, and natural ingredients. Gardein's main dish can easily replace traditional sources of protein in any meal or recipe. Now, protein is essential. I need protein in my particular state, but the veggie strategy is as good as it gets. And obviously, when I buy, the meat, it's from Whole Foods, and it tends to be extremely organic, but very expensive too. So, you get what you pay for. I personally want to welcome them to my district and publicly thank them for their vision of a healthier living and for bringing attention to another great business in the city of Los Angeles. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Reyes. Do you want your water?
Thank you, Councilman Perry. It is an honor to share this podium with Councilman Rosendahl and yourself. I'm going to thank our dean for participating in this effort, Chef Jason Stefanko, Rosa Barnett, and Priya Jones, who are representing the company here. But colleagues and those who are listening, as Councilman Perry mentioned, this is about understanding what is in our food. This is understanding how we can eat better. As a person who has suffered a couple of episodes of kidney stones, as a person who has a son suffering from type 1 diabetes, these are all issues of nutrition, eating habits, and how we conduct ourselves so we could prevent ailments. Now, I know when we pushed for this resolution, we got critiqued by those who were questioning why is the council members talking about meatless Mondays. Well, the reason being is that it's about preventive measures. Many of our young people, many working families who are struggling to make ends meet can begin to look at whole new relationships. Our community gardens can become sources of nutrition if they connect with restaurants who can provide the kind of green foods that stimulate not only our economy, help rejuvenate our aquifer, because now we are using our water in a manner that is much more healthy for our environment, but it directly connects to us as healthier people. So for all the young kids who are suffering from diabetes, those who are suffering from obesity, this change in diet will live with you and allow you to live a much healthier lifestyle in the future. And many of us who come from different countries, come from different cultures, will get assaulted by all the different fast food signs, fast food quick and dirty, $1, whatever. Taking a little time to make a salad that is not as expensive can do a lot for our young people. So I'm going to thank our dean for being an example in investing in our city and stimulating a whole new economy in how we eat, create preventive measures, and allow our children to eat and live healthier. So thank you, council colleagues, for your help.
Beautiful. Great, 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 great.
So, Chef, if you will, just come on up with your team, and if you'd like to reintroduce or whatever, and just say a few words.
Sure. Well, thank you, Councilman Perry and Councilman Reyes. Really, this is a very special event for us. Never in our wildest dreams did we think that Meatless Monday, in the epicenter of better for you eating, would come to fruition. Councilman Rosendahl, what a thrill to be in your district.
We're thrilled.
We kind of thought an interesting way, it could be easy to open up an office and just say, we're doing business as, but really thinking about the way we wanted to do business and represent not just our brand and our company, but the community and Los Angeles at large. The idea of opening up a tasting kitchen where we could open up the front doors and really invite people in to test and taste and experience and enjoy a meatless plant-based protein diet is really special. And we're seeing retailers and consumers at a great base really taking this on. And so it's exciting and wonderful. And thank you guys. And we invite you down end of January to officially come and taste some amazing food after today. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right. So with that, on behalf of the entire City Council, I'd like to present this resolution. Come on up.
No, other side.
Other side.
Okay. On behalf of the entire City Council, and to thank you for your belief in our city. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Great, 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 great on all this.
Okay, congratulations. Madam Clerk, it's my understanding that whatever issue it was on item 1 has been resolved.
Yes, Mr. President, for item 1, there is request to reduce the lien amount to $429.30.
Okay, so, and we do not have any cards, correct?
No cards.
Okay, now let's vote on that item. Let's open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
I believe we can move quickly. Ms. Sargent, did we bring in? Okay, so we're going to be moving around today. I want to explain that to all of the people that are here. So I'm going to do a little bit of general public comment at this point, and I want Tanya Tapia to come forward, and we'll let you speak, and then we'll go back and handle our agenda items. Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, City Council members. My name is Tanya Tapia. I'm a second-generation Peruvian. I'm speaking on behalf of the Peruvian community, representing the initiative for a Peru Village. We are about to present the county clerk with the application for naming a section of Vine between Melrose and Sunset in Los Angeles. Our petition requests a recognition of Peru Village similar to Thai Town, the El Salvador community corridor, among other ethnic enclaves that we have. We want to be included in the defined cultural diversity of this cosmopolitan city that welcomes people from over 140 countries. We already have several well-established businesses in this area that have been in existence for several years. It's an equidistant hub where the Peruvian community gathers, since we live and work all over Los Angeles. Naming a geographic area is a fundamental way of expressing cultural values of a community. Being one of the most ancient civilizations and also one of the first migrant groups to come to California during the establishment of the state, the gold rush, we've contributed to the West Coast from mining to wool and fresh produce, with growing trade partnerships with our country of origin, Peru. The Peruvian community is one of the Latin American communities in Los Angeles with the most restaurants. And indigenous immigrant artist, Ima Sumac, honored with the star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Many Peruvian Americans have been recognized for their numerous contributions in gastronomy, the arts, sports, science, literature, economics, among other intellectual arenas. We, as Peruvian Americans, are in the top 10 Latin American countries with the most voting and purchasing power in the United States. The implementation of Peru Village Initiative will enable us to have a greater impact socially, culturally, economically, being a magnet for new investments, creating jobs in the proposed area, and foremost, giving back to the country that has welcomed us. Thank you for allowing us to present our initiative here today, which is being governed by local, national, and international media. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Mr. Garcetti?
I just want to rise briefly, Mr. President, because this is not on the agenda, so I can't speak very long on it under our rules, but I want to say bienvenidos a mis amigos peruvianos. Gracias por venir. I want to thank you for being here. I'm very excited. This is in my district, and we're going to be introducing a motion to support this, and I'm looking forward to sitting down with you, so let's make history. Muchísimas gracias por su visión de una ciudad muy grande, de todas las culturas, and I look forward to having all of those cultures represented here in Los Angeles with Peru Village. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. If you guys could please exit so we could continue today's business. If you could begin to exit. Thank you. Okay, now, Madam Clerk, quickly we're going to go to items 20, 27, and 33. We'll take them up individually, but these are items that were held special by the public, Mr. John Walsh. So, Mr. Walsh, if you could come up, and we'll take up these three items that you put in cards on. Items 20, then we'll do 27, then we'll do 33. Oh, there you are, Mr. Walsh. I didn't see you. It's okay. Hang out with the Peruvians. John Walsh, HollywoodHighland.org.
Right. John Walsh, this is item 20. I just have a terrible thing to tell you. I brought my 11-year-old niece here, and somehow she's lost in the building. And she's half Mexican, and her name is Estrelita Walsh. You'll be able to find her. She's much better dressed than I am, and I know you have a lot of experience finding 11-year-old children lost in this building.
Stay on the item.
I'll stay on the item. This is the Neighborhood Land Trust. We're 100% in favor of the Neighborhood Land Trust. And like to say, HollywoodHighlands.org or go to signon.org. And let's tell you, 100%, the mayor must resign from fixing debt.
Stay on the item and stay right there, Mr. Walsh, because we're going to go to item 27. So on this item, if we could please, Madam Clerk, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, now let's move to item 27, called special by Mr. Walsh. Go ahead,
Okay,
Mr. Walsh.
this is concerning installation on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Go out to the Hollywood Walk of Fame and take a look how it's fallen apart. First it was tunneling under Hollywood Boulevard. There's a big space. The entire Hollywood Walk of Fame is falling apart. Eric Garcetti doesn't give a damn. I can show you the stars that are falling apart. And I want a star for Eric Garcetti so I can walk on him every day. And how about one for your father?
On the item.
Oh, well, I'm talking about the Hollywood Walk of Fame and Rick Baker, who got the star. The organization that runs the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and incidentally, anybody with $20,000 can get a star. Even I could get a star if I wanted to spend $20,000. But I just want you to know you're doing a terrible job on the Walk of Fame. You're doing a terrible job in Hollywood, and I'm going to give you back the 1 minute by saying anybody but Garcetti.
Okay, Mr. Walsh. Now stay there. We have one more of your items. Mr. Garcetti, if you could quickly.
I'm good.
Okay, you're
I'm
fine.
good.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on this, Madam Clerk. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Remove Mr. Garcetti from the queue. Okay, next item is item 33.
Item 33 is traffic control. Traffic is out of control. I'm going to give you these extra time. I don't need every single second to get off. I've already gotten off. You're doing a terrible job. Vote no on the half-cent sales tax. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, thank you. On this item, let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, Madam Clerk, let's quickly go into the special agenda. So I believe we need to call roll. So we would recess this hearing and move into the special hearing.
Alarcon, Buscaino, Cardenas, Englander, Garcetti, Weezer, Carrasco, Correa, Labange, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Zine, Wesson, 15 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, what's the first item?
Items 52 and 53 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes required for consideration.
Okay, let's take item 52. Donna Pearman. It was held special by cards. Donna, I don't see you. Donna Pearman, are you here? Okay. I do not see Ms. Pearman, so let's... Okay, what we'll do is, Donna, try to make your way here. We'll go to the next item, which, Mr. Garcetti, is item 53, correct?
53, yeah.
Okay, we'll do that.
Okay. Joe, you going to join? Yeah. Bill, do you want to join us here or you want to speak from the seat? Okay.
Let's go, guys.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. I'm thrilled to be here today as we declare Tuesday, December 11th as No Hate Day in Los Angeles, honoring the 4th anniversary of the Marriage Equality Campaign. I'm joined by Mr. Buscaino and Mr. Rosendahl as well. The No Hate campaign is a photographic silent protest created by celebrity photographer Adam Busca and his partner Jeff Parsley in direct response to the passage of Proposition 8. The No Hate, with the number 8, campaign has received overwhelming support from around the world and has appeared in various local and national news programs and publications. Wednesday evening, No Hate will celebrate its 4th anniversary with a star-studded event at Hollywood's Avalon nightclub. Before we bring up the honorees, allow me to introduce internationally acclaimed spoken word artist by the name of Yasmine Monet Watkins, whose own collection of work has been inspired by the No Hate movement. After she performs, I'm going to ask our council members to say a couple words as well. and then we will vote on declaring this day. So I'd like to ask Yasmin to come forward at this time.
Please come forward.
Hi, my name is Yasmin Monet Watkins, and I'm a queer woman of color and artist. It is an honor to present my art in honor of no hate. And when I think of movements, movements are comprised of individual people, and the individual faces and the people behind this movement I dedicate this poem to. Note to self, in case you tripped, fell, and somehow forgot, you are brilliant. You wild-haired, angel-eyed sphinx of a movement, you hold the ability to throw real change into this wishing well wide world and the crescent moon nail bed of your pinky. You whirlwind of a movement, how you dance between the cracked pavement of this planet. You are the dancing melody that will shake this shattered earth whole. You adapt like rivers and flow like spirits. You are humble, listen to your elders. Solidarity lights your path. You are talented, have already accomplished so much. Lives have been touched by you, and we are destined still for so much more. You are intelligent, smart, compassionate, always looking out for your fellow human. You are open-minded and down for life's adventures. And every turn, you are awkward and corny in the best possible ways. Laughing through life with diamonds in your eyes and freedom on your lips. You're a free spirit like the freedom tribal dancing through your photographs and out through your soul. You are beautiful. Like a queer star rising, shining on your way to heaven. And if heaven is where the heart is, then you carry it with you always. You inspire others to sit comfortable in their skin and listen to their God within. So don't be afraid to embrace the inner war cry, howling free from the belly of your diaphragm. Remember the power of the wind lying dormant under your tongue and speak. You almost forgot who you were. Shout against the silence to the tune of insanity. You are the answer you've been waiting for. You are tidal waves of wisdom crashing wildly on the shore. You are worth more, and this life is a gift worth living. So bring it justice. Speak freely to your truth. Open your mouth wide, heart held high like lion. And continue to roar.
Wow, beautiful. Great.
Thank you, Yasmin. That was an amazing poem. Thank you for sharing your inspiring speech with us. And I want to ask Councilmember Rosendahl to say a few words, and then Councilmember Buscaino as well.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Yeah, I mean, whatever, mayor, no. Who knows? Future will unveil itself, frankly, over the next few months. And I love our democracy at its best. And I got to tell you, I'm wearing this, which is an LMU. For the first time last year, they have recognized in a very public way the gay and lesbian, transgender, and bisexual community, to the degree that we had our special little program that was separate and then part of the larger program. But I wear this to symbolize the fact that we've come a long way. We still have a long way to go. Now, my hope and my prayer is that the Supreme Court, if Kennedy is true to his word, which is a libertarian and people's personal business is their own, joins the four others on there that are for us, and we are able to change the law. We know we flew back to Washington, many of us, a few years ago, and had a major event right there in the steps of the Capitol. And all we're looking for is our basic human and civil rights, so that our relationships are sacred and sanct. That Defense of Marriage Act that unfortunately Bill Clinton put out there in the wrong way, which we've been suffering with all these years, will change. And with the Supreme Court focusing on it, we expect our basic civil and human rights to be granted to us. So stuff like widow benefits and all kinds of other benefits that are codified in the word marriage also will apply to us as well. I'm very hopeful about it, and I just want to acknowledge Eric Garcetti for, again, taking leadership on this subject. And, of course, my colleague over here is a great guy from San Pedro as well. That's my remarks, and I guess we turn over to you. Yeah.
Thank you. I want to acknowledge Council members Garcetti and Rosendahl for introducing this message, presenting here today. As a senior lead officer of the Los Angeles Police Department, I developed the first Teen Community Police Advisory Board. It was a way for teens to communicate and to partner with the police department, break down barriers, problem solve, and discuss issues that were important to them. I mentored several teens that really struggled coming to terms with their sexual orientation, how to talk to their family, and the bullying and discrimination they faced. It was heartbreaking to see the sadness, the mental anguish, and stress these teens went through, all because of something they have no control over or never chose. And I was raised by my parents to love and respect everyone, regardless of how much money they had, regardless of the color of their skin, regardless of who they loved, regardless of the religion they practice. As adults in positions of authority, I think it's very important to lead by example, and that's why I was so interested in the No Hate campaign, and that's why I invited Adam, Jeff, and their team to come to City Hall in August and photograph city officials and their staff for the campaign. These photos, as you see behind me, are so powerful because of their simplicity and the power of the message they convey. I'm thrilled to have participated in this campaign and proud to work with colleagues who are so progressive and forward-thinking. Gays and lesbians deserve the same rights and privileges as anyone and everyone else does, and I'm confident that the Supreme Court will reach that same conclusion this spring and strike down Prop 8, the Defense of Marriage Act, and every piece of discriminatory legislation that demeans gays and lesbians as second-class citizens. So with that, I want to acknowledge Mr. Garcetti, Mr. Rosendahl, and also the No Hate team for being here as we celebrate No Hate Day on December 11th. Thank you.
I just want to do a shout out to Paul Koretz, who in 1975, the first to join the local gay club there, Stonewall Democrats, and showed tremendous leadership, not only in West Hollywood, but throughout the state and the nation. And you're a terrific guy for what you've done, because that added a lot more energy to us when a man like you came out in support of us. So thank you, Paul Koretz, for your leadership.
Thank you so much, Bill and Joe, and thank you as well, Paul, for that. Whether you identify as LGBT or an ally, I commend you all for being here and taking a stance to honor those who support us to live and to love the way that we want to. And now, please join me in extending a warm welcome to the two men behind this campaign.
But no, before we do that, Ms. Perry would like to...
Absolutely.
Thank you. Mr. Buscaino, it was really such a great session to have us come in there and get photographed for this very diverse, unique, artistic expression of the feelings of so many, and to be inclusive about it. I admire the depth and breadth of the people who participated, the depth and breadth of the photographs that are online, and it personalizes it. It makes the issue much more intimate, and I think makes people understand that everybody loves somebody, and that you have the right to love who you want to love. And it's really just that simple. And I'm glad that we were all included in that, and to hear the poetess speak this morning again brings it home to what this is all about, and I'm just glad that you did it.
Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I just want to point out to the people who are watching who fortunately or unfortunately hardly tune into Channel 35, that who we have standing here are a bunch of beautiful, wonderful people who just care about equality. And I think it's really important for people to understand that, you know, Bill Rosendahl, I love you very much, and the fact that you're an openly gay member of the City Council is a beautiful and honest thing, and I just hope and pray it comes the day that people can just say who they are, be who they are, without having to worry about judgment. In addition to that, Eric, thank you so much. You're probably the most eclectic person on the council when it comes to the variety of background that you have, and all the communities that you come from and love so very much. And I appreciate you sponsoring this as well. And then also Joe Buscaino, perhaps the greenest member of the council. Yet at the same time, I think it's really important for people to understand that when you look at our police department, when you look at people in authority, people with badges, people who are out there every single day, this is a new LA. And I think that you, Joe, represent that new Los Angeles where you're willing to stand with everybody and anybody and treat them and give them the respect that they deserve, like anyone deserves. Yet at the same time, unfortunately and shamefully, this city and many departments in this city would not have that. So I just wanted to say thank you all very much for being who you are, council members, and everybody in this room and everybody listening. Thank you for being who you are, and I hope and pray that everybody sooner than later can just be who they are without having to fear or worry or wonder how they're going to be received. And I think this is a very, very important presentation, and I think that this is a wonderful thing that these gentlemen have put together. It's very artful, it's very beautiful, it's impactful. Please keep doing it. Thank you.
Mr. Garcetti.
So, thank you. Now join me in extending a warm welcome to Adam Busca and Jeff Parsley, who are the co-founders of the No Hate campaign. 33,000 photos later, spreading love everywhere. Please welcome them.
Thank you. For us, the campaign started in response to the fact that our voices weren't being heard, but if we've learned anything in the process, it's that we have a strong community of strong allies and powerful voices, and not only can we make an impact, but we truly can make a difference. And that only, for us, started with one photo, but for us, it's been a community-driven effort. So for us, we just want to make the most of that tool and provide as many people with that tool to speak out every day in any way possible. So thank you for the support of LA. We couldn't have done it without you.
Thank you, guys.
Let's take a vote.
Okay. Madam Clerk, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay. Congratulations. Okay, now if we could go to item 52. Ms. Pearman is Ms. Pearman in the council chambers, and come forward on item 52.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Garcetti. You guys could clear the way. We still have some work to do. Okay, Ms. Pearman on item 52.
Yes, this is the one on the ethics. Okay, I'm just going to speak real fast on this. I don't see that how, oh yeah, by the way, I was in 350 when you first called me. I'm glad you called me again. Yeah, so I just wanted to say that I find it hard to believe that you can have anybody on the ethics committee when you hardly have any ethics yourself. Because, closing down our video conferencing.
That has nothing to do with the item.
Anyway, I don't think that, I hope this person will, goes in there, will have the ethics, will go over look for the ethics of the city council so that you guys, so the city council will be thinking about us. So that's all I wanted to say on that one. I didn't, okay.
Thank you. Okay, let's, Madam Clerk, on this item, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Congratulations. Okay, let's reset, or let's adjourn this special meeting and return to the regular meeting. Do we have to recall the roll?
No, Mr. President.
Okay. So now it's my understanding that the amendment on item 45 has been circulated. There are no cards on 45. Mr. Huizar?
We're going to read the amendment into the record, if that's okay with you.
That's fine.
Okay. We had item number 4 that says, request the Bureau of Sanitation and the CAR report back in 60 days with a progress report on how they have effectuated the implementation of the optimization phase. Amending the committee report. And that's amending the committee report, sir.
Okay, so let's vote on this as amended. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Rosendahl.
So item 32 has been circulated, and I'd like to move forward with that.
I didn't hear you.
Item 32.
Okay, item 32 we can take up as well. Are there cards on 32? Or do we have to?
Yes, there's cards on items 30.
32?
Okay, 32, Donna Pearman. Donna? Item 32.
In that other chamber to try to get to there. Let me just see what 32 was one more time, because I had to sit in that room. Just do this real fast. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, yes. Another fee waiver. That's what it is. And when I finally got rid of the fee waivers, here we are again. Fee waivers. So I don't see why you really need to spend all this money on these 4th of July. I suppose this was last 4th of July. Either it's very early for the next 4th of July, or you're wanting to get the money back for items that you spent on last July, which doesn't make any sense. Pretty much you have to pay it. If you're going to do it this way, it's totally after July. And if it's not this July, last July, and it's this July, then this is totally wrong time. So I say this is totally wrong time period for a fee waiver, and you shouldn't be asking for fee waivers when you ask for the city employees to do a lot of sacrificing, and you allow the DWP to get rate hikes. So I say this is totally wrong. That's all I'm going to say on it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, now let's move forward. Ms. Perry, are you prepared to do items 2 and 7 at this time?
Yes, I am. And there are an enormous number of people who are in the Public Works Commission room. And so I hope we have a strategy in place to get them in here to comment when their names are called. I can speak now, but then there's also people out in the rotunda. So thank you all for being here and for your interest in the University of Southern California's specific plan. I'd like to acknowledge everyone who is here for this item and to ask you to please stand up and be recognized. And there are also, again, people in the rotunda, people in the Board of Public Works room. I'm pleased that we have finally made it to this point, and we've been able to engage in the university's specific plan process as a holistic community. For many years, the university was growing and expanding, and there was no public plan in place. Now today, that changes as we consider the adoption of the University of Southern California specific plan, which clearly shows the next 20 years of development. This is an exciting moment because it means thousands of new jobs for the City of Los Angeles residents, new revenue for the city's general fund. You should clap for that. That's a good thing. New revenue that can help us pay for basic city services. Now, this project is expected to create approximately 12,600 new jobs. About 4,000 of these jobs will be construction jobs. Clap for that. And the other 8,000 jobs will be permanent jobs. These jobs will be provided to local residents through a strong project labor agreement and a commitment, right? And a commitment from the university contained in the development agreement. Now, I'd like to commend the building trades for working with the University of Southern California on the project labor agreement, because I know it's going to go a long way towards providing apprenticeship and job opportunities for the people of the city of Los Angeles. I'd also like to express my appreciation to USC for engaging in this process and providing a significant investment to affordable housing in South Los Angeles, and as one who has given them a big hand. And as one who is a Trojan, it makes me enormously proud at the progress that we have made. I know that at times it was difficult, it was rancorous, filled with debate, filled with dissent, but I think that's what it means to be a good Trojan, to get in there and to fight on, but to move a community forward and leave no one behind. These funds will go to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund and will be leveraged with other dollars, resulting in more housing that is accessible for area residents. This project will also bring quality retail options to a community that still lacks grocery stores, movie theaters, sit-down restaurants. And in fact, I have introduced an amending motion that proposes technical changes to the specific plan and the development agreement. The amending motion addresses the issues raised in letters sent to us from USC, Unidad, and the Los Angeles Housing Department. We have all worked very hard for the last 4 years to get to this point. And even though I inherited this project from the gentleman on my right, we have worked hard to move this project forward. So thank you, Mr. Parks, Mr. Reyes, the Chief Legislative Analyst, City Planning Department, the City Attorney's Office, and most of all, USC and all of the community stakeholders who are here today. And I hope that you will all vote yes. Thank you very much.
Mr. Reyes, and hold Mr. Reyes' time for a moment. Mr. Reyes, if you could do the council a favor and walk us through, I don't know if this is part of your talking points, but walk us through how many meetings were held and whereabout within the city.
Thank you, Council President. Colleagues, it's a pleasure to be at this moment, to be able to hear the words of my council colleague, John Perry, and acknowledging all the stakeholders. Well, Council President, this goes back to 2008, where we began speaking to the motions and putting together a series of community meetings that went throughout the 4 years. We included scoping meetings where we had extensive public input, included South and Southeast LA Community Planning Advisory Committees, 4 meetings there. The Figueroa Coalition, which made up of many of the community-driven stakeholders, 5 meetings. The Figueroa BID, the Business Investment District, 2 meetings. Neighborhood Council with Unidad and SAGE, around 3 meetings, and other meetings we didn't even count. These are meetings behind the meetings. And a whole other range of stakeholders. 2010, 2011, we began to discuss the Nexus study. Again, more extensive outreach, more engagement. We came to planning and land use 3 times. And in that discussion, we got to see the leadership, starting with the chairman of the Board of Trustees, Ed Roski, Tom Sales' staff, the stewardship of Mi Lee and company, and allowing us to focus on all the benefits and accomplishments that Council Perry has articulated. Bottom line for me, it was about the jobs, but more importantly, it was about how community was able to define itself. So for the nonprofits, for the residents who have seen whole streets change, whole families displaced, and watching how USC, in their attempt to create that outreach, build those bridges, find that consistency and compatibility so they can have a stronger presence economically and socially in the community. So I do believe in creative tension. Nothing good comes easy. And all these meetings reflect that type of energy. It doesn't happen alone, and we have, Council President, an amazing group of city employees who were pressured to perform in a manner that allowed us to capture what is the best in this great city. In our planning department, can the city staff please stand? All of you guys, come on, let's give them a big round of applause. City Attorney's Office, you're part of the staff. Come on, guys. Please. Terry Kaufman, you don't want to stand. All right. Let's thank them. We had the planning department, Faisal Robles, Michelle Levy, Rogelio Flores, Alan Bao, Shauna Bonston, Michael LeGrand, of course, Craig Weber, Jason Chan, Diane Ketching, Ken Bernstein, some support staff, Arthur Varna, Building and Safety, Lincoln Lee, and Housing, Mercedes Marquez. Thank you so much. Claudia, Helen Campbell, Rebecca Ronquillo. These folks are working late at night, through the weekends, gave up their Thanksgiving holidays. We're actually here pounding away on these documents. DOT, Thomas Carranza, Michelle Maury, CDD, Robert Sines, John Reamer, Contract Administration, City Attorney's Office, again, Terry Macias, Laura Cadegon. I just gave it a Spanish twist there, didn't I? Mary Decker, Tim Williams, Ed Young, Amy Brothers, Ken Fong, CLA, Jerry Miller, Robert Mejia, AVOC, the Mayor's Office. I mean, all of you came together, and it's because now USC can stand tall with the great institutions of the East Coast, Chicago. The $20 million in housing is a tremendous step. $20 million in housing for this region. For all the unions, every element, all the different advocates who came meeting after meeting, we heard you. The question was, how do we unveil this? How do we continue growing and developing together as a city? I want to thank Guadalupe Duran Medina from my office, as well as Rebecca, Bureau of Engineering, Carl Mills, Greg Vandergrift. Thank you, guys. So with that, colleagues, we do have an amendment, and as Councilmember Perry has said, we're finally at this stage. Now it's about making sure the great institutions of this great region, USC, I'm proud to be a UCLA Bruin, but when it comes to the brotherhood of teaching and raising the quality up for our communities, we all come from the same school. So thank you so much, and I encourage an aye vote. Thank you, Council President.
Mr. Labange.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in the name of John Ferraro, who this chamber is named for. John Ferraro was a great public servant over 50 years and is in heaven looking down, and proud of the work of the city employees who he loved. I'm proud of the work of his university that never left the center city, that has become what a great institute for so many great causes. So I speak as one of his deputies of the past of the great work that John Ferraro has done. And the University of Southern California was on the southwest border of the Pueblo, Los Angeles, right there at Hoover. Right there, Hoover and Exposition. That was the edge of town. And there sat and stayed, and now it has enhanced its work with the community. So congratulations to Ms. Perry. And Mr. Reyes, you don't get enough of credit because it's a long time to sit in those planning meetings. Give Mr. Reyes a hand for his work there. Go Trojans. I'm blessed with having a great mentor in John Ferraro. but also I'm blessed at having a great number with the late, great Milt Davis, number 39 for Red Sanders at UCLA. So I go both ways. Okay.
Mr. Labange, you may want to choose your words a little more carefully. Just a suggestion from your quarterback here.
Thank you.
That's an article in the LA Weekly. Okay. Mr. Englander.
I will be brief because I think this day is long in the works, and I actually can't just wait to sit down again and hit my button to vote yes. This was a lot of people coming together, but I really want to thank the leadership at USC, particularly President Akias and Tom Sales. You guys have done a phenomenal job in not just working the policy discussions, but I too sitting with Mr. Reyes and his leadership in Plum, but bringing all the community together and the trades and all the stakeholders to iron out all these details is a huge project. This will forever change the area and the face of Los Angeles. It's a great opportunity as a council member. We're here for a very short period of time in the scheme of things, and to be able to weigh in on and listen to and work on great policy discussions, but even more importantly, great development projects for terrific universities, the largest employer in the city of Los Angeles that does such a great job as an institution. It's really an honor and a privilege to have that opportunity. We would probably be sitting here for another year having these discussions, quite frankly, if it weren't for everybody getting together and working out these details quickly to make sure that we can get people back to work and this project underway. So I'm just with that going to sit down and wait to hit my yes button. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Now, let me ask a question. How many people here are here in opposition? And I'll ask the sergeants to go out into these overflow areas to see if you can identify individuals that are opposed. Since Mr. Reyes and Ms. Perry did such a thorough job in vetting this, and we do have some amendments. We have already fulfilled the public, testimony part, but with these amendments, we'll open it back up. We're going to do a total of 20 minutes, 10 on each side. So we will start off with Paulina Gonzalez, if you'd please come forward. Paulina Gonzalez, are you here? Okay, please come forward.
Good morning.
Let me give you a second to let your entourage get behind you. Very good-looking, diverse group of folk. Now your time begins.
Good morning. My name is Paulina Gonzalez with SAGE. SAGE convenes the Unidad Coalition, and you see them here today. Consists of CD Tech, Esperanza Community Housing Corporation, PV Jobs, St. Francis Center, Trust South LA, United University Church, Blazers Youth Services, St. Agnes Church, and St. Mark's Lutheran Church. In connection with this 20-year development plan and consistent with USC's long-standing commitment to civic engagement, USC has agreed to provide unprecedented benefits to the South Los Angeles community, and we are proud to support the USC-specific plan. Councilwoman Perry has outlined many of the community benefits, and we are really proud, especially of the $15 to $20 million in affordable housing funds that will be used to create and preserve affordable housing for families in the neighborhoods surrounding the university, as well as the 30% local hiring goal and the 10% disadvantaged worker hiring goal, as well as many of the small business assistance programs that university will provide. A collaborative public process has played a key role in bringing about these benefits that will provide critical investments in the local community. SAGE and Unidad would like to thank USC for their commitment to the South LA community and to thank Councilwoman Perry for her leadership in bringing us here. We are proud to support the USC specific plan today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Tommy Fave. and then Michael Banner. So we got 10 minutes for support, so.
Morning. Morning, Brother President and full body council. My name is Tommy Favai. I represent IBEW, Electrical Workers Local 11. And I just wanted to say that this project, this modernization project, will be great for LA, will be great for our members that preside in Los Angeles County. And Jan Perry said it best, apprenticeship programs. And that's what it comes down to, apprenticeship programs, giving opportunities to work on this magnificent project, working together with USC and partnering together with the building trades. That means a whole lot to our members and entry-level people that come into these apprenticeship programs to give them opportunities for a career. And that's what it's all about, a career. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Michael Banner. I'm here to speak in favor of what sounds like it's going to be unanimous approval of the USC University Village Specific Plan. I serve on the university's advisory committee for this specific plan. Also, I led the first visioning exercise in 2006 on behalf of the Urban Land Institute Los Angeles District Council. And I would suggest to you that with the approval today, in your yes votes, you'll be affirming the city's interest in creating jobs, improving housing, and supporting the largest employer and job creator in the city. Approval of this unsubsidized billion-dollar investment will allow the university to continue its commitment to the community of South Los Angeles. And I urge your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Banner. Our next speaker, Yagay Kishishian, Ruth Molina, and Julio Perez. Like to come on up. Yagay Kishishian, Ruth Molina. And you're welcome to stand behind the current speakers. That way we can move the...
Good morning, Yara Kishishian with the Central City Association, representing our 350 members, employing over 400,000 individuals throughout the LA region. CCA is strongly in support of the establishment of the University Park Campus Specific Plan and the development project at the Village at USC. The proposal before Council today is an example of how public-private partnerships work. The $1 billion construction project will increase the percentage of university housing for undergraduates by almost 30%. This will free up hundreds of housing units in the surrounding neighborhood currently occupied by USC students, who will now be able to seek university housing. Neighborhood residents like this because it will relieve the existing market demand for neighborhood housing, thereby lowering the rental costs. And in the end, we all benefit from this major community reinvestment project through the addition of new amenities and services in this underserved community. Thank you.
Ruth Molina, are you here? Julio Perez?
And in the rotunda, so they might need time to get in here.
Okay. Humberto Ayuso? Gary Tobin?
Good morning, members of the Council. I'm Gary Tobin with the Los Angeles Area Chamber of Commerce here on today to support USC's University Park Specific Plan. This is a 20-year blueprint, a thoughtful plan that integrates the needs of residents, students, the business community, and the region as a whole. Not only, as you've heard, will it create thousands of construction jobs and permanent jobs when finished, it'll provide badly needed housing for students and reduce the stress on other housing near the campus. The plan will revitalize and transform the neighborhood north of the campus with new shopping and dining opportunities for students, faculty, and the community alike. It also includes a strong local hire and procurement provision to ensure that the development is a powerful agent for job creation and community development in South Central Los Angeles. As the largest private employer in Los Angeles and a world-renowned research institution, USC is a beacon for students who come here and for the businesses who hire the skilled workforce it graduates. The LA Area Chamber of Commerce proudly supports this specific plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Humberto Ayuso. I'm here to support the specific plan for our families of our community to enjoy the children and our parents to have a better future and a better chance to live out our dreams with our families in a safe community. And this moment that we've been waiting for so long. And I've been supporting the Pacific Plans from the very beginning. And I've been living in the community for 37 years on Jefferson and Vermont. So I've seen the community change a lot, and I think this is a giant leap for a better future for the community itself. And I thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker.
Good morning. My name is Ruth Molina, and I've lived in the community for about 32 years, and I'm here in support of USC. The reason for that is that I feel that USC has helped and enhanced our community. I'm a product of USC. I came here when I was 8 years old, and I did not know a word of English. My parents worked hard, and USC, when I was in high school, USC took me under their wings under the Upper Bound program. Through the USC Upper Bound program, I was encouraged to continue with my education, and I did. I'm a Head Start teacher. I helped my community, and I've done volunteer work in my community for 6 years in kids and sports. So I know that community and I know the needs of the community. And USC has helped all of us, not only me, but there's other children right now through the USC NAI program that they're enhancing their ability to go to colleges, to go to good universities, and this will be an opportunity for our children to stay in the community and to enhance the community themselves. I have a short story for you. I was teaching my niece and nephew about the needs and wants. They're 6 and 7 years old. So I tell my nephews, if you have a need, it's food. If you want a want, that's a toy. We have a need with USC. We have the need to improve our community. It's not a want, it's a need. So please help us to make this plan go through. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Ron Miller and Ada Briseño.
Good morning. I'm Ron Miller. I'm the Executive Secretary of the Los Angeles Orange County Building and Construction Trades Council. We represent 140,000 members within 52 locals across 14 trades. You'll see many of our members here today. We're proud to stand up for the USC University Village project. This project is a huge win for the city of Los Angeles. USC is one of the city's leading institutions, a pillar of Los Angeles. They are the largest private employer in the city. USC is investing more than $1 billion in our communities. This project will be built under a project labor agreement with the building trades. It will provide good-paying jobs to the local residents. It will allow new apprentices to start their careers with the building trades. USC has proven it. They are seriously a good neighbor. They have worked with the community on a plan that makes this neighborhood more livable for everyone, for USC students and also all the families who live here. This project is a great part of LA's future. The building trades are very proud to support it, and we look forward to breaking ground and getting to work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Ada Briseño.
Good morning. My name is Ada Briseño, and I'm Secretary Treasurer of Unite Here Local 11, And we are Southern California Hotel and Food Service Workers Union, and we represent 20,000 workers. And you'll see some USC workers here today with us, and also some Unite Here members right in back of me. We are very pleased to strongly support USC in the specific plan that includes a new union hotel. Union hotels bring hundreds of living wage jobs with quality, affordable health care, pensions, job training, and other important benefits for the working people of Los Angeles. The city of Los Angeles is poised to recover from the Great Recession and to construct a stream of new developments. But its economic security will depend on whether or not these projects will produce good jobs, both for the construction and for the permanent employees. USC stands as a model in this country, incorporating the needs of the local community and the greater Los Angeles region. Though it's primarily an educational institution, the university demonstrates how to do responsible development. USC is a good employer for our membership, both as food service operators and hotel operators at the Radisson Hotel on campus. After years of development, we're very excited to move forward, and today urge you to vote yes strongly. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes the portion where we are addressing those who support. The card I have here that reflects against the proposal is Hugo Arias Rodriguez. I'd like to call up Hugo Arias Rodriguez.
Hi. Hi. I figured instead of having everybody speak, maybe I can just do the job.
That's fine.
Take some time. Well, again, once again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to raise a concern about this USC-specific plan. I own Wendy's Old-Fashioned Hamburger Restaurant, and I understand USC is spending $1 billion and assisting a lot of businesses, but somehow I kind of fall through the crack that I'm not got any assistance or anything whatsoever. And maybe it was just an accident, but unfortunately, I've been trying to reach out and had nothing. In fact, my employees are concerned about what would happen to them for the time the project is going to go under construction. I don't know what to tell them. They all live in the same community that we are trying to make it better. But unfortunately, I don't have the answers to what to tell these people. I have I've made this package that somebody can distribute to you all that shows how this project would impact me personally. And I have had a third party made an assessment to my business. And those packages are all right there on the desk if somebody can distribute so this way you can see it. I also feel that the first right of refusal and a business assistant should have a little more meat to the development agreement. Those are also recommendations on that package. And again, like I said, I think what USC is trying to do is great. I think the college should. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And before you leave the podium, my understanding is that you still have access to dialogue. We can still have a conversation with you. USC is still prepared to have that conversation. We can't have that debate now, but I'm just making you aware that the door is not shut. They're willing to have that conversation with you, and we are still moving forward with the most positive intentions.
I'm really hoping for that.
Okay, so I want to make sure that was clear.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. And the applicant for the University of Southern California would like to share a few words. That's Mr. Tom Sales.
Good afternoon, members of the City Council. My name is Tom Sales. I'm USC Senior Vice President for University Relations. You know, USC began working on this specific plan almost a decade ago. I'd really like to begin by thanking the many, many people and organizations who have brought us to where we are today. As Councilman Perry and Councilman Reyes have indicated, this has been a very, very collaborative process. It's involved city officials, organized labor, the business community, community residents, community advocates, including the Unidad Coalition, and just people who live in the neighborhood. At first, we had somewhat differing points of view, but the beauty of this process is that we all came together, and we came together for the betterment of our neighborhood. Now, the project before you will be what we believe will be the largest redevelopment project in the history of South Los Angeles, and it will absolutely transform our neighborhood, both in terms of quality of life and employment opportunities. It will provide millions of dollars for affordable housing, a new fire station, job training for people in the neighborhood, jobs for people in the neighborhood. It will create more student housing and free up housing in the neighborhood. We will continue to beautify the neighborhood, and we will obviously continue to support nearby schools and parks. And these benefits are separate and apart from the additional $30 million that USC invests in our neighborhood every year. On behalf of our President, C.L. Max Nikias, and the Chairman of our Board of Directors, I really want to thank the entire city family. Particularly, I want to thank the City Department of Planning, Michael LeGrand, Alan Bell, Faisal Robley, Rogelio Flores, Michelle Levy. Special thanks to the City Attorney's Office, who just did a Herculean effort, particularly Jane Usher, Ed Young, Laura Cadigan, Amy Brothers, and Mary Decker. Special thanks to the Planning Commission, the CLA, Jerry Miller, the CAO, Miguel Santana, the Department of Housing, Mercedes Marquez, LA Department of Transportation, and CCD, the Mayor's Office, his staff. But I really want to reserve my most special thanks for this body, for the members of the City Council and your staffs, for your support, your consideration, and the diligence and your hard work. In particular, we'd like to thank Councilman Parks, who represented this district for many years. I really, really want to give my heartfelt thanks to Councilwoman Perry, who once again really demonstrated her leadership quality, her ability to bring sometimes conflicting views together for a better outcome and for a better city. I also want to thank the members of the Plum Committee, Chairman Reyes, thank you so much. Mr. Englander and Mr. Weezar, thank you so much for your leadership. And of course, President Herb Wesson. I also want to thank the USC team and our Board of Trustees, including Ron Tudor. Probably my most heartfelt thanks, though, is for our community supporters, people who, like Mrs. Gonzalez or Mrs. Johnson, who live in the community, who came to numerous hearings and repeatedly support this project. So in closing, I want to ask you to please approve this truly transformative project. It's 12,000 jobs, and its numerous community benefits to our neighborhood and to the entire city of LA. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sales. Okay. And thank you, Mr. Sales, Mr. Roski, the chairman. I think we're ready for a vote. And Madam Clerk, can you please share with us what's in front of us?
Mr. President, what's before council is an amending motion which actually substitutes the revised plan ordinance as well as the development agreement and authorizing ordinance that were previously submitted and attached to the file. Those items are before council. A note on the motion, the attached revised zoning map ordinance and the revised specific plan boundary map were not submitted, so those items are not before council at this time. The council may reconsider this item later on to adopt those items.
Seeing no one else on the queue, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Okay, again, that has been approved. Madam Clerk, what I want to do is we're currently holding item 41. We're going to refer item 41 back to the EERC. So without objection, that will be the order. What is the next item that's before this council?
Item 28, calls motion for cards and by Mr. Garcetti.
Okay, Mr. Garcetti, we will start with you on item 28. We do have cards on item 20, or I have a card on item 28. So if the USC folk can quietly leave the chambers, I'd like to call Larry Gross forward. Okay, Mr. Gross.
Okay, Larry Gross, Coalition for Economic Survival.
Go on, Larry. You speak loud. You can drown them out.
Absolutely. We fully support this item. Thank you, Councilmember Garcetti, for once again bringing this critical motion forward. The foreclosure crisis and its impact on hardworking Americans is a national disgrace. It's especially unjust for the forgotten victims' tenants. In LA, impacted renters are those living in foreclosed, non-rent controlled rental units who are good tenants, have done nothing wrong, paid their rent on time, but given the chance, these heartless banks will evict them without reason simply because they're living in foreclosed rental property. We just have to remember last year that these banks unlawfully foreclosed on the homes of nearly 5,000 active duty U.S. military service members. This ordinance is needed to restrict banks from outrageous acts like this. 4 years ago, you provided needed national leadership in enacting the strongest tenant foreclosure protections in the country. This law has protected significant numbers of families from being unjustly evicted. You extended this provision each and every year since. We urge you to vote to extend it again today, but also ask that you refer to committee studying the possibility of making this crucial law permanent as other cities have, such as San Francisco. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Garcetti, before you proceed, I want to hold your item for 1 second. It's my understanding on the issue where related to USC that there was one document that needed to be signed. It has been signed, so at this point we're going to vote to reconsider, and then we will re-vote on the item. So on that item, we're now voting for reconsideration. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, don't panic, SC. Now we're voting on the item. Let's open the roll, Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, so now that item is done. With that said, we'll go back, Mr. Garcetti, to your item, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Gross, for your comments, and thank you for your support of this. Colleagues, I urge you today to vote yes in extending the foreclosure eviction ordinance to make sure that it sunsets now a year from now, December 31st, 2012, and I'd be happy to add, let's look at studying what we can to see if we can make that something permanent. In December 2008, this City Council adopted the foreclosure eviction ordinance to protect those truly innocent victims, those tenants who are living in rental properties not subject to the city's rent stabilization ordinance, from evictions on the grounds of foreclosure. Mr. Parks and I, both in my district and in his, found renters who had been paying their rent on time, who had been showing up, who had been good tenants, and yet when certain properties they lived in, whether they were homes they were renting or whether it was apartments, were foreclosed upon, they were being offered illegal or unethical kicks out the door, essentially. $1,000 if they leave that day, or nothing next week. We didn't understand it, because certainly banks, you would think, would want to have good paying tenants there, giving them income property. So this was something that wasn't seen as an attack on banks. It was actually helping them. But we couldn't understand why somebody would kick out good paying tenants, folks who have never themselves done anything wrong. I remember, I think it was Johnny Lee, who was in Echo Park in my district, who we found at an apartment, who had been offered one of those sleazy deals to leave his apartment with a little bit of cash, essentially illegally, or get no money and they'd kick him out, which they didn't have the power to do with this law. I caught up with him 2 years later, and he said, because I didn't lose that apartment in my housing, I was able to save money. And as he saved money, he's now the owner of the apartment he once rented from. We want to see wealth be able to be built up in this town. We want working class folks to be able to have the opportunity to stay in good housing, and maybe even one day to buy them. And this prohibits lenders from evicting tenants merely because of foreclosure on their landlords. Because it's scheduled to sunset on December 31st of this year, we need to extend it. And as Mr. Gross said, data this year shows that the foreclosure crisis has not abated since the Council first adopted the foreclosure eviction ordinance. Nearly 10,400 properties have been subject to foreclosure 2 years ago in 2011, and 7,600 this year in the first 9 months, so a similar pace for 2011, unfortunately, as the year before. So given the continued epidemic of rental property foreclosures, we must extend the sunset date of this foreclosure eviction. Let's study whether or not we can make this permanent, and let's do something that has inspired cities across the nation to copy our legislation. It's now in over 100 cities nationwide, and let's stand strong for those folks who are doing their part to stay in housing. Now let's do ours. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let us open the roll, close the roll. Madam Clerk, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, next, every item today is forthwith. Next, we're going to go to Mr. Rosendahl. Item 43, Bill.
Yeah, colleagues, we're going to note and file this, but I thought it was appropriate for us to discuss it. I'd like the staff of Bureau of Sanitation to come on up real quickly. This motion was the result of a CBS Channel 2 news story in which the City of LA and the Bureau of Sanitation were painted in somewhat of a bad light. And I'd like the staff to come up and explain where we're at on this, and then we're going to ask to note and file it. Good morning. Your name for the record?
Good morning, Adel Hash Khalil, Assistant Director, Bureau of Sanitation. Thank you very much, Councilman. Just to quickly kind of review a couple of the issues. This is a Proposition O project, Mar Vista. As you know, there was actually an item that was approved today, item 45, that really provided the staffing and approved the plan for optimization for all the Proposition O projects. So thank you for the Council for approving that. As you know, all these Proposition O projects are water quality projects that are new in nature, very innovative, and new to our staff in terms of how they take care of them. Mar Vista is one of the first projects to be built. It's a capture of stormwater treatment and then disinfection after it goes through a storage system. The project was designed and constructed under the oversight of the Bureau of Engineering. Mr. Ken Red is here present. And the project was completed few years ago and went through a process of testing and review. However, when our staff took it over, there was a concern about safety regarding chlorination and the confinement of the space when you have chlorine. And some of the issues that were raised has to do with the exposure to potential chlorine, gases, etc. We had experts from our safety staff review the matter and determined that there's potentially some issues with safety. The operational manager at the time made a decision to shut down the operation while we take care of the safety. I want to report to you today that the safety modifications are underway as we speak. They should be complete by the end of the month, and the project should be operational by early January. We're going through a process, and we've actually brought in experts in water quality, experts in design, in safety, and the staff agreed that the project should be operational once these safety issues are addressed. And the safety is important because a lot of us, it's a serious issue. We cannot compromise on this, and once a safety issue is brought up, we take it seriously, and the safety of our workers is our utmost importance, and we took that seriously, and we're taking care of it.
Good. Do you want to add something to it? No. Okay, colleagues, I'd like to vote and note and file it.
Okay. On this item, let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, can we take up, I believe, Mr. Weezer, item 31, or item 50 was called special by who, Madam Clerk? I believe it was one of the members.
Yes, by Ms. Perry.
Ms. Perry, you prepared to take up item 50? I don't see Ms. Perry. Mr. Koretz?
I can do item 31 for Mr. Weezer.
Okay, let's go to item 31. Are there cards? There's one card, two cards on item 31. John Walsh and Bonnie Holmes, please come forward. John Walsh, Bonnie Holmes. Ms. Holmes, if that's you, come straight to the microphone. Yes, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President and council members. I'm Bonnie Holmes-Jen here on behalf of the American Lung Association in California, and we're requesting that you vote today to support this resolution to urge the federal EPA to adopt the strongest possible soot standard. This is the federal PM 2.5 or soot standard, and the American Lung Association has made this a national priority to strengthen this standard. This will finally truly set the standard at the level that protects public health. Soot is, of course, a very dangerous pollutant that contributes to asthma attacks, chronic bronchitis, other lung and heart illnesses, premature deaths, cancer, even contributes to delayed lung development in children. And the health impacts, of course, are worse in vulnerable communities, communities that suffer from existing heart and lung illnesses, communities near freeways, ports, rail yards. We have, of course, many of these hotspots in this region. There are thousands of scientific studies, of course, that back up the science on particle pollution and tell us that the current federal standards just are not health protective enough. Please join the American Lung Association, the American Heart Association, the American Thoracic Society, and many other health and medical groups across the country in adopting this resolution to support stronger standards. And we thank you so much to Councilman Huizar for bringing this forward.
Okay, Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. Of course, we 100% in favor of this. But let's not forget what you just did the past couple of hours. What you did the past couple of hours is a gigantic development project which will produce enormous amounts of soot, S-O-O-T, when jobs are at the expense of our lungs. So whichever way you come down, you can't be politically correct on both these issues. You don't see the Lung Association getting up and speaking about the polluters. the large corporations because they pay them off. This woman before me, she's making $150,000 a year. She's not going to talk about where the soot comes from. HollywoodHighlands.org. I'm still looking for my 11-year-old niece. She's
Stay
in the building somewhere.
on the subject. Okay, that's the end of the public comments. So we'll go now to Mr. Koretz, followed by Mr. Weezar.
Thank you, Mr. President. When I was growing up here in L.A., and I think many around the Horseshoe are old enough to remember this, we would have days so smoggy that we literally couldn't go outside. Running would burn your lungs if you ran track in high school. I remember doing my extra running at midnight so that the smog wouldn't be as bad. It was so bad that Los Angeles is still famous around the world for our smog. We couldn't see the mountains. But despite how far we've come, despite the fact that now on most days we can see our mountains, we still earn that reputation as one of the most polluted cities in the country, if not the world. And we need to change that. We have the technology available to do it. It's just a question of the political will. Our resolution on the Clean Air Act back in June succeeded in helping encourage the EPA to fully implement the mercury and air toxic standards rule and the carbon pollution standard. I have full faith that this will similarly have that impact on fine particulate matter. The savings in health care costs for children and adults, the savings in the lost work days from lung disease will more than cover any cost to implement this. And I encourage your support so Angelenos and everyone across the country can breathe a little easier in the future.
Mr. Weezar.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank the Speaker from the American Lung Association who came by and spoke today. I want to thank Mr. Koretz for seconding the motion. And all of us know the problems of polluted air. There's asthma, lung disease, cancer, and more than 300,000 kids have asthma in the Los Angeles area. In fact, there's a growing body of evidence that soot is even more harmful to health than previously thought. We all know the benefits of controlling pollution. We have clearer skies, new technology, and healthier kids. The economic benefits of the Clean Air Act have proven to far outweigh the costs. EPA is currently reviewing its soot standards to ensure they fully protect public health. Stronger standards are supported by the American Lung Association, the American Heart Association, the National Association of County and City Health Officials. Because, as Mr. Koretz said, the air quality in Los Angeles is one of the worst in the country, the EPA will certainly take a serious look at what the city's position is with respect to making this change. That is why I urge our council today to support this and send a clear message to Washington, D.C., that we support strong, science-based standards to protect public health, and we are ready to do our part for clean air for the city of Los Angeles and all of us.
Okay. Let's, Madam Clerk, prepare to vote on the item. Let's open the roll. Mr. Parks? Or after this, yes. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, now Mr. Parks.
Yes, Ms. Perry would like number 50 to go back to committee as her motion. She doesn't need to speak on it.
Okay, it's my understanding that there's an agreement on that item. So I've got the thumbs up from the committee chair. So item 50 will be referred back to Mr. Garcetti's committee. And that brings us to item 25, called special by Mr. Reyes.
Council President, we can have the staff, water and power, please come to the center table. Following legal process, there is an obligation for us to present the information material you have before us. Can you please share it with the council?
Okay. Jim McDaniel, Senior Assistant General Manager for Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. We're here today to present the environmental impact report for the Elysian Reservoir Water Quality Improvement Project. Glenn Singley, our Director of Water Engineering, will make the presentation. We also have Chuck Holloway from our environmental group to respond to questions.
Good afternoon, council members. I think each of you have a packet of slides on this Elysian Reservoir Water Quality Improvement Project. We're here doing this project due to 2 water quality standards, the long-term 2 enhanced surface water treatment rule and the stage 2 disinfectant byproduct rule. Both of those combined, are required to cover our open reservoirs. The next page shows the 10 open reservoirs that were subject to these 2 rules. 5 reservoirs are now in compliance. We have 5 reservoirs remaining. We have projects that will deal with each of these remaining open reservoirs. And the last one to be resolved is Elysian. The next page is a diagram or a picture of the Elysian Reservoir as it sits as an open reservoir. The yellow line around is a fence line around that property. So there is no public access in that immediate area. The project purpose is to ensure, first of all, the quality and reliability and stability of the water supply. Primary objectives is to comply with the EPA mandate for the water regulatory issues and also to maintain our local storage. Secondary objective of the project was to provide publicly accessible recreation area at the reservoir property. The proposed project was a buried reservoir. We were to demolish the existing reservoir, construct a concrete covered reservoir with a footprint in the existing reservoir, maintain the same water storage capacity, put about 3 feet of soil on top, and make a publicly accessible recreation area there. The duration of the project was to last about 5.5 years. There's a diagram of some of the affected areas with the proposed project. We'd have to have stockpile areas in the immediate area, some staging areas, and a truck turnaround area that's shown on the diagram. The floating cover, there were two main alternatives to the buried storage. One is the floating cover, and that's simply to demolish the existing liner and appurtenant facilities, construct a new reservoir liner, and then install a flexible membrane floating cover over the water surface. So not a lot of work that needs to happen there, but basically a membrane cover on the top. We are going to provide access around the reservoir to a wildlife pond being proposed in the rear of the property, and that would take about 2.5 years to complete. Along with the project itself, there were some proposed enhancements. As you can see on the following page, entry gate, dam crest fencing, wildlife pond, barriers, some park trail improvements, and pipeline and restroom improvements in the park. The next page shows a picture of Santa Ynez floating cover. This was recently completed about a year ago, right in the Pacific Palisades. There are several hundred homes that overlook this and have a view of this reservoir. Another alternative was the aluminum cover. It would be similar to the floating cover, though it would be a rigid aluminum cover that could have either aluminum itself or have solar panels on top. This would be a little more construction, a little more expensive, 4 years duration. And there are a couple of pictures of existing aluminum covers on reservoirs. This is our bypass reservoir at the Van Norman complex, and a picture of some solar panels that could be placed on top of that aluminum cover. The next page shows environmental impacts. The next 2 pages on aesthetics, air quality, biological resources, and then cultural resources, noise, and traffic. All of them have various levels of impact, but each is less than significant when mitigated, other than air quality, which with the equipment needed would have an impact that we could not mitigate fully. If the third page there shows some of the highlights of the alternatives, some of the total off-site truck trips for the buried reservoir, 48,000 truck trips versus 11,800 for the floating cover and 15,000 for the aluminum cover. Of significance, the total volume of earthwork for the buried reservoir, 425,000 cubic yards of material moved on site. compared to very minimal earth moved for the floating cover and less than 1,000 cubic yards for the aluminum cover. The buried storage did have a new recreation area created on top of the reservoir. The floating cover does add access to the wildlife pond in the rear of the property, as well as the aluminum cover. So there was some additional recreation in all three of these projects. The cost on the next page, approximately $110 million for the buried reservoir versus $25 million for the floating cover and $55 million for the aluminum cover, and various times of construction, 5.5 years for buried and 2.5 years for the floating cover. And the construction durations are shown at the bottom of the page. The floating cover could start sooner because it's less of an engineering feat to design the project, so we could start a little sooner on that one for the 2.5 years. In summary, the buried reservoir had the greatest environmental impact as identified in the EIR, but it does meet all the objectives, including accessible recreation area on top of the reservoir. The aluminum cover alternative and the floating cover alternative have fewer environmental impacts. They do meet water quality and water storage objectives, but no specific recreation on top of the reservoir. The staff recommendation to our board was to approve the floating cover. It does meet all the primary water quality and storage objectives for the project. It was named the environmentally superior alternative because of the fewer impacts of the project. It does have the lowest capital and 60-year cost and the shortest construction duration. So on April 17th, the Board of Water Power Commissioners certified that the EIR was prepared in compliance with CEQA. They adopted the mitigation monitoring and reporting plan and the findings of fact and statement of overriding considerations, and approved the floating cover alternative with additional enhancements of $3.16 million to the reservoir area and the park as part of the EIR. Also approved an establishment of a $12.5 million community parks fund. And that is what we are asking you to follow up and approve along and support the board's decision.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Reyes, go.
Thank you, Council President. I want to thank Water and Power for the presentation and the community for their ongoing commitment to this process. This project has been particularly challenging because Water and Power is required to address, as you heard, our open reservoirs in order to meet new federal water quality regulations. At the same time, this community has been advocating for the past 20 years for solutions that preserve the integrity of the reservoir and Elysian Park. 20 years. Now, back 15 years ago, as I was speaking to the community folks, they were actually one of the first reservoirs, and then found themselves at this stage of the process. This is the only reservoir located on a recreation and parks property and currently serves as an amenity to the park. We have been looking for solutions that all parties can agree to given the city's legal mandate, and unfortunately, even with the help of a mediator, time has run out to consider other alternatives in the short run. At this point, given the deadline to meet the federal mandate, my goal is to move forward, but to also work with Water and Power and the community to ensure that this reservoir receives the attention it deserves. There was a different budget allotted to this project a few years back, but because of the changes or challenges, now we look at a whole new set of budgets that have already been presented. It is with this in mind that I'm introducing an amending motion today. It asks Water and Power to continue working with the community in very specific ways. I hope in the long run will get us an overall win for everyone involved. Most importantly, requests that Water and Power, instead of just automatically replacing the cover when its useful life is over, to examine the feasibility of other alternatives given the technology or Department of Water and Power's water mandates, may change, thereby allow for better solutions. With that amending language, you have in front of you the specific directives that I'm hoping we continue working together so that we can meet the goals as defined by the community and Water and Power and meet our federal mandates. So I would ask for you to support me in voting yes and allow us to take more incremental steps in doing what's right for the area. So that being said, we can just open up for community cards if there are any.
Do we have, oops, sorry. Do we have, I don't believe there are cards on item 50, are there? 25. My bad. We do. We have, is it Sally Neubauer and Peter Lassen and Christine Peters, if you could please come forward and just identify yourself and begin.
Yes. Good morning, or almost afternoon. My name is Sally Neubauer. I'm Assistant President of the Citizens Committee to Save Elysian Park, and I'm one of the two members of the Coalition to Preserve Open Reservoirs, Pete Lassen being the other one, that has been working in mediation to solve this reservoir solution for the last 20 years. It's very disappointing at this point in time to stand before you all, because Pete and I have been to see many of you personally to talk about the reservoir issue, and it was very disappointing to go to committee, an Energy and Environment Committee, and have only 2 members of the committee vote a recommendation for this project. And I'm just hoping that Mr. Cardenas, Mr. Alarcon were fully informed before this recommendation happened. And Mr. Koretz as well was not present at that committee meeting. I also want to say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and I would like to pass these around. Would you pass them around, please? Please pass them around to each person. Elysian Reservoir sits at the bottom of a beautiful 40-acre canyon in Elysian Park. It's the only reservoir in a park, and this project will effectively ruin 40 acres of Elysian Park, because you see many, many places around the reservoir where you can look down and see an ugly plastic cover, and that's what you will see. And there is no mitigation that is going to fix that wrecking of 40 acres of park. So we, as members of the coalition and as members of the negotiating team, do not support this environmental document. It is flawed. The aesthetics is totally flawed. May I just finish?
Thank you. No, everybody, if I give you more than 2 minutes, I would have to give everybody else more. So if I can have Peter.
Thank you. I am Peter Lassen, also representing Citizens Committee to Save Elysian Park. I would like to note again, as Sally said, that we don't particularly support the solution that the department has come up with, i.e. the floating cover. However, thank you, Mr. Reyes, for your motion to amend this. It requests that the department continue to work with the Citizens Committee through the next replacement of the floating cover. It also requests $12 million for implementing the master plan, the Elysian Park master plan, and that we feel strongly that there is a better solution. We support your motion. Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Thank you, Mr. Huizar, for doing that, and we will support this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Peters?
Good afternoon, Council members, Council President. I want to thank Council Member Reyes for introducing this amendment, and I hope that all of you will respectfully accept it at the very least. I don't want there to be any confusion here. This is an equity issue. Elysian Park and the Elysian Reservoir may be last, but they should not be least. And because this city is suffering a financial crisis, and because we, as its stakeholders and caretakers, have fiscally mismanaged it, does not mean that Elysian Park should suffer the loss of the original project that was approved by the board of the Department of Water and Power years ago with the landscape buried tank project. That project should remain on the table, and at what time that this city can make itself fiscally better and more responsible, we should be revisiting the project. A rubber cover, it's a rubber cover. It's not hard to replace. It's a temporary solution to a real problem. And I just want it to be made very clear that the other reservoirs that have been dealt with, Silver Lake is being taken out of service so that the rich homeowners who live around it can enjoy an open body of water. Rowena Reservoir has been fenced and improved. No one is allowed to enjoy it, but it is in Silver Lake and Los Feliz, and therefore it is surrounded by rich homeowners who have a lovely, unattainable park to look at. Headworks has escalated over $200 million and is seen by Burbank, Forest Lawn, Griffith Park, and again, Elysian Park will have a rubber cover. This is parkland. It should be respected. It should be preserved. The citizens of Los Angeles should have parkland improved, not covered with rubber, not covered with aluminum, not buried in concrete. You, as our representatives, need to make sure that this item stays on the agenda, is not left unattended to, that we don't wait 25 years to get healthy as a city and improve it and raise money to make this project happen for all of the youth, all of the seniors, all of the people who use Elysian Park, the oldest park in the city of Los Angeles. So I please ask that you approve this amendment and that you make sure that the DWP is held accountable and asked to...
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Labange.
I thank those public comment speakers and Peter, Christine. And it's unfortunate because it's time, and it has taken a long time on these projects. When I worked for John Ferraro, we started these projects. But I know Mr. Reyes has the community's interest always at heart, and we take this as an opportunity also to enhance Elysian Park. I believe in this, too, as an upgrade of the water system in the park, which was so key to Griffith Park years before this project, when John Ferraro was able to get the water system, and it helped in a tragic fire keep it corralled as opposed to into the neighborhoods. So I know it's not a pleasant day for some, and Sally, I've never seen you smile, and I don't think I'm going to see you smile, but you should smile a little more, because things do happen when people try to work together. And I know Mr. Reyes has been a champion for your community in all which ways, and especially as it relates to the river, which is key. So I wanted to make that statement, Mr. President. And on water and power, I wish we could do all things the way we'd like to do them, but this is the most important thing, is to get quality water to the people who deserve it. And I know I'm going to fight you on things in the future in other areas of my district, but quality water for the people is our #1 objective, and that's why you got to cover it. Thank you.
Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you very much, Mr. Labange, and thank you, Mr. Reyes, for the work that you've done on this as well as for the community members who've come and met with me, who have been a part of those discussions. I probably lived the closest to the reservoir and have enjoyed it personally almost weekly in my walks through Elysian Park, and it's something that I feel very personally strongly about, and I've really appreciated, Mr. Reyes, your work this year on having seen leaky pipes for a decade of walking through that park to finally get those upgrades. And I know how passionately you feel about equity in your district as well. And, this is a different fund from the general fund, so the two aren't, the city's fiscal woes have nothing to do with this particular thing. But I do think it is an issue of equity. I think this is a good amendment. This will not be, something that is finished or forgotten. And I think something that we can look at in future years. It won't be pleasant to see a rubber cover, but certainly I share the sentiments of folks out here that this is something that is very serene and beautiful. It needs to be part of a system, of course, Mr. Labange, but that doesn't need to come at the expense. I represent both sides. While this has been in Mr. Reyes' district, I have folks, and there's plenty of homeowners in both places, and there's plenty of renters in both places. There's not, Silver Lake is not a high-income area by and large, and neither is Echo Park. But I think we need to make sure that we have that sort of equity, and that equity will come in a number of ways. I think this is a good start to make sure that there's better park equity, and the connectors that the Citizens Committee has been a part of to make sure that we have connectors. Right now there's a red car property and others that we're looking at and looking at ways that we can purchase. It doesn't have to come at the expense of resolving in 15 years and saying we already did something else. So I want you to hear that in the public record from me. But I think this is a very good work that you did, Mr. Reyes, to make sure that the ratepayers who live in this area also get something from their water and power company. Appreciate you working on this for the short term, and let's continue plugging away for the next decade and a half and see if we can't resolve it better. Thank you.
Mr. Reyes.
I just want to know when, as water and power employees, at what stage of your career were you when this first came to your radar?
I've been working on this in one form or the other probably since my first job at Water and Power as a entry-level design engineer. So we've been 30 years ago, I just had my anniversary. So that was in the planning stage, and then we've been working with Ms. Neubauer and Mr. Lassen from the beginning.
And I can just share with you that they're not going to go away. I know we have our life cycles as city employees, water and power, but this amendment truly wants to create the kind of commitment that they're seeking and they deserve. If the history is accurate, this was the first project. It's 20 years, now it's one of the last ones. And so with all seriousness, I'm hoping that we can focus on this with the priority it deserves. I want to thank Jill Sodet from my office, who's worked very hard on this process. The patience of the community folks. Jose Gardea, my chief of staff, has also been a steward for the past 20 years in working with the community to make sure that we have the kind of responsiveness that every community should have. So that being said, colleagues, Courage and I vote with the amendments, and I look forward to the next steps, and we're going to stay focused on what's best for our area, including the health and welfare of water and power and its systems.
Absolutely.
Mr. Zine.
Is this a project that is going to affect the entire state or the entire country when they're covering the reservoirs? Because we've got reservoirs all over the United States.
This is these are two federal regulations, so this is happening all over the country.
So every reservoir that's open in the entire United States is going to be covered. I mean, that's the eventual plan. After your 30 years.
There are various ways to treat these reservoirs. Like the Los Angeles Reservoir, for example, we are doing some treatment below the reservoir and covering it with shade balls instead of a floating cover or instead of a specific cover. There are others that, because of their watersheds, have been exempted from certain parts of the regulation or modified in certain ways. So not every single reservoir is being covered. And several of our reservoirs are being bypassed just because of the operational flexibility we have of additional storage in one area so we can bypass it in another.
But this is a federal regulation that affects the water quality and the collection areas where we have...
And every agency in the country is subject to these two rules.
And we're not being picked on. This is just a universal problem. And the folks that had the concern about when they showed the photos, is there any other option that we have for that particular issue that they brought forward?
We did not have an option. We looked at several other, off-site storage that would replace Elysian and did not find a suitable location to be able to put that amount of storage that we need for that area. It really is a critical storage facility.
So we did look for an alternative.
Absolutely.
What about Stone Canyon? Is Stone Canyon involved in this also?
Stone Canyon is one of the other 5 reservoirs that hasn't been covered yet, and the board approved the EIR. Upper Stone Canyon will be receiving a floating cover. That project is in the design phase right now.
So in your next 30 years with the Department of Water and Power, do you think we'll get it complete?
Yeah, I think so.
From the beginning to the end. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Zine, and thank you for your 30-year commitment. Okay, public testimony has been heard. There are no additional speakers on the queue.
Excuse me, Mr. President.
Yes.
Just for clarification, what's before Council is the Energy and Environment Committee recommendations to deny the appeal, as well as to adopt the Board of Water and Power Commissioners' recommendations, action actually, and as amended by Motion 25A.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Madam Clerk, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, that brings us where? Did we have a lot of ordinances on today's agenda?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. We have 15 people. Anyway, what's left before this body?
General public comment.
Okay, so let's go to general public comment. Okay, I'm struggling a little bit with this name, but I think it's Marco Galindo and Dora Berta Martinez, John Walsh, HollywoodHighland.org.
Muy buenos días, miembros del concilio. Quiero, por favor, un intérprete, si es posible. Muchas gracias. Buenos días nuevamente. Mi nombre es Marco Galindo.
Good morning. My name is Marcos Galindo.
Soy residente de Mar Vista Gardens,
I reside at Mar Vista Gardens,
de vivienda pública.
public housing.
También soy miembro de la colectiva por el derecho humano a la vivienda.
I am a member of the collective for the human right to housing.
También soy miembro de la organización Power.
I am also a member of Power.
Estamos aquí hoy para pedirle su apoyo
We are here today to request your support.
con un gran problema que tenemos en las comunidades de vivienda pública.
Yeah, we have a great problem at the housing, at the community housing houses.
HACLA no está siguiendo las reglas conforme a las provisiones de HUD.
Yeah, HACLA is not following the rules according to the HUD provisions.
Es decir, HACLA está violando nuestros derechos con respecto a la situación de la basura.
In other words, HACLA is violating our rights when it comes to the garbage situation.
Hemos archivado una demanda contra la agencia por esta razón.
We presented a claim to the agency regarding this issue.
Y les estamos pidiendo a ustedes su apoyo
We are asking you for your support
en ayudarle a HACLA a resolver el problema de la basura.
to help us resolve the problem with HACLA regarding the garbage.
Con la obtención de un contrato adecuado y por hacerse cargo de la cuenta directamente.
We need an adequate contract, and they should take care of the account directly.
También que dejen de malgastar más fondos públicos peleando con nosotros los inquilinos.
They should stop using public funds in the incorrect way
Por los errores de ellos.
due to their mistakes.
Hoy les entregamos una muestra de más de 1,000 firmas de inquilinos de varias comunidades.
Today we are giving you a sample of more than 1,000 signatures of renters of different communities.
A través de estas tarjetas postales, ellos están de acuerdo con estas demandas y que quieren ver el problema de la basura resuelto.
Through these postcards, they agree that they want to see this problem that we have with the garbage solved.
Lo sentimos, esta es nuestras tarjetas de fin de año en esta forma.
Yeah, this is how we are having our end of the year postcards in this way.
Y con respecto a señor Rosendahl, soy un enviado especial también para desearle su pronta recuperación.
Mr. Rosenthal, I'm a special messenger to wish you a fast recuperation.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it all. Next, I'd like to call on Antonio Ramirez, Donna Perriman, John Walsh.
Buenas tardes, concejales. Mi nombre es Dora Berta Martínez.
Llamando al señor Antonio.
Antonio Ramirez. Will you state her name?
Dora Berta Martinez. You called her second. After Mr.
Very good. We took a transfer here. Go ahead, Ms. Martinez.
Sí, sí, señora. Sí.
Mi nombre es Dora Berta Martínez y soy residente del Distrito 9 de la concejal Jan Perry.
My name is Dora Berta Martinez, and I am a resident of District 9, that is the district of Council Member Jan Perry.
Estamos con Comunidad Presente y la colectiva.
We are with Comunidad Presente and the collective.
A la par mía pueden ver a varios de mis vecinos.
Next to me you can see some of my neighbors.
Nosotros vivimos en un edificio viejo que está en la esquina de las calles 30 y Flower.
We live at an old building in the corner of 30th and Flower.
Nos conocemos desde hace muchos años, ya que la mayoría de nosotros hemos vivido allí por 15 años o más.
We know each other because the majority of us have lived there for 15 years or more.
Hace varios meses empezaron a llegar unas personas a decirnos que nuestro edificio está en venta.
A few months ago, several people came to tell us that our building is for sale.
Y que el nuevo dueño desea demolerlo para poner allí vivienda de estudiantes.
And that the new owner wants to demolish the building in order to build student housing.
Ya que tenemos muchos años de luchar por quedarnos en nuestra comunidad,
and we have been fighting for several years to stay in our community,
decidimos organizarnos y escribirle una carta abierta a ustedes.
We decided to organize and to write an open letter to you.
Y cualquier persona o corporación que desea destruir la comunidad que nosotros hemos cultivado.
Or to any person or corporation that wants to destroy the community that we have cultivated.
Y cuidado juntos.
And we have taken care of this community together.
Tal vez la hayan visto debido a que las mandamos a muchas de ustedes. Incluso invitamos a la prensa a presentarla al público general.
There is the possibility that you have seen some of these letters because we send them to many of you. We send them to you, to the media, and to the public in general.
Más que nada, queremos que nuestra representante concejal Jan Perry,
more than anything, we want that our representative council member Jan Perry
nos dé la cortesía de escucharnos en persona, apoyarnos en que no se desaparezca más vivienda económica de nuestro distrito.
To have the courtesy to listen to us in person and to support us in order to keep the housing, the economic housing that we have right now and avoid the disappearance of this housing.
Por eso hemos llegado hoy para presentarle esta carta personalmente a la concejal Perry.
That's why we came today to present this letter in person to Council Member Jan Perry.
Y a todos ustedes.
And to all of you.
Esperamos que alguno de ustedes tome en serio su papel de liderazgo y nos prestara su atención y apoyo a nosotros.
I hope that some of you take seriously your leadership role and to pay attention to us and to support us.
Y a todas las familias trabajadoras y de bajos ingresos dentro de la ciudad de Los Ángeles.
And to all the working families and families of low-income families in the city.
Concejal Perry, ¿nos dará de su tiempo?
Council Member Perry, would you give us some of your time?
Gracias por su atención y esperamos su respuesta.
Thank you for your attention, and we are hoping to receive an answer.
Thank you, Ms. Perry.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I know that some members of the group have already been to my office and met with Stephanie in the office. We also are aware of this project and are watching to see what the developer intends to do. I have not taken a position of support on it, and I will work with you and the group to make sure, if this project moves forward, that your concerns are addressed.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. I want to, and Mr. Walsh, Ms. Perriman, if you could hold for a second, there's another speaker from the same area here. I want to pronounce it. Noham Armadar. You're all okay? So, and let me just call these names here if there's anyone else who needs to speak. No, please. Identify yourself, please.
Mi nombre es Noemí Armendariz y vengo representando a Comunidad Presente.
My name is Noemi Armendariz and I represent Comunidad Presente.
Y la colectiva por derecho humano a la vivienda.
And the collective for the human right to housing.
Okay, ahora sabemos que los inversionistas es una compañía Symphony.
We know that the investment company, the name of the investment company is Symphony.
Quieren demoler el edificio para hacer vivienda para estudiantes de la USC.
Yeah, they want to demolish the building to build student housing for the USC students.
Y por eso pedimos la ayuda de ustedes.
That is why we are asking for your support.
Para que no nos saquen de nuestro edificio.
For them not to remove us from our building.
Y algún representante de estos inversionistas. Y para algún representante de estos inversionistas.
And for any rep of this investment company.
Si están aquí presentes.
If they are here today.
Queremos hacerles saber.
We want them to know.
Que no nos moveremos tan fácilmente de nuestros apartamentos.
That we are not going to move that easily from our apartments.
Y haremos todo lo posible por preservarlos.
We are going to do the best to preserve these units.
Pues y esperamos el apoyo de ustedes.
And we hope to get your support.
Thank you very much. And also, is Daisy Vega there? Daisy, you want to say something? Thank you, Daisy. Appreciate that. And also, is it Thelma Perez? We just note that. Ms. Perez, we note that. File as well. And Dora Martinez. So we had everyone speak. Now I'd like to call on Antonio Ramirez, followed by Ms. Perlman, followed by Ms. Walsh. Mr. Walsh.
Hello. Deport, deport, deport. No amnesty, no asylum, no jobs, no free education, no health, medical, welfare assistance, no free housing, because there goes the neighborhood. Take a hard look at the Hispanic Latino neighborhoods. They live like reptilian savages who don't want to exercise any civility, much less any self-control. They will never be integrated with respect in any American society because they have no self-respect. Truly, Latinos and Hispanics are venomous and jealous, racist hate mongers. Case in point, look at property located at 245 South Lucas Drive, Los Angeles, California, 90026, owned by stupid, incompetent, and unethical slumlord Francis G. Smith, and property managed by Gary Knauss Income Property, who should be sanctioned and arrested for illegally hiring criminal illegal felons, Santiago, Roberto, and Carmen, who maliciously and vengefully conspire with other surrounding apartment gangbangers to illegally trespass into tenants' apartments and rummage through the tenants' personal belongings. They steal your IDs, vandalize, invade your privacy, and violate your fundamental rightful quiet enjoyment and peace. Furthermore, on public safety problems, I want to report 3 vehicles and their drivers for fear and intimidation, assault, and domestic terroristic threats in the Union Wilshire area. 1, 8, V as in victory, 3, 4, 6, 1, 6. 2, 3, R as in rat, K as in king, C as in Charlie, 5, 8, 2. And number 3, 3, S as in Sam, X as in extra, E as in egg, 511. Again, Charlie Beck is out there pandering to all the illegals and criminal legal aliens and gangbangers. So I would say, Charlie Beck, lick it and lick it good. The following LAPD officers: D. Halston, Sean Hall, Frank Koenig, John Kears, S. Morris, Palomo Sr., Marco Duarte.
Thank you very much, Ms. Perlman, please.
It's Perriman.
Sorry, Donna. You call me Tom Labongi anytime you want. Thank you.
Okay, Bongi. Anyway, I'm going to sing. I just want to say I'm going to sing again someday, Mr. Garcetti, since you allowed that poem, but not today. Anyway, thank God Miriam didn't come. It's crazy. All these people on the item that was already held. I put it for number 8. I don't know what happened to that. So I wanted to have a Filipino for number 6. And Mr. Cardenas, you should have finished your term. And so this legend shouldn't be necessary. Anyway, this is not really accommodating the disabled. It's horrible closing our video conferencing. I would be able to see our meeting and just get up to speak when my name is called, but not today. This is horrendous today. I had to stand up a big line to get in, which was hard for me, and to stand in a big line into Rotunda with many others who are told to wait until they're called. First you can't, and then you couldn't get in. They were telling the truth. As was, you don't know what's happening without a phone. We were totally ignored. It was unacceptable. You finally wait in the room where you can't hear, but you can hear, but you can't see. That's that public room. That's less than the Van Nuys video conferencing. The TV, that TV didn't work in that other room. I am physically disabled, and it took me 2 hours to get here. And it's all the standing up. My back, my right hip, and my knees hurt. Anyway, that room over there, a public room, public works, it was very difficult. You have to wait until your name is called, and then you have to try to hurry up and get over here. Luckily, you did let me speak on that. And it was very confusing, the way you have this whole system. So we need to reopen Van Nuys video conferencings. I didn't know I was able to, I didn't know when I was going to get into the chambers. And so I can see why Mr. Walsh lost his niece in the building. So
thank you very much. Thank you. John Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, HIGHLANDS. It's right here. We ask you all to go and visit signon.org. That's the MoveOn.org's petition gathering website. Signon, SIGHNON.org. When you get on there, Villaraigosa/Villaraigosa, that will give you the opportunity to sign a petition asking the mayor of the city of Los Angeles to quit the far-right organization, which he is now on the steering committee of and receiving $30,000 a year in an expense account. This is Campaign to Fix the Budget. It is a right-wing campaign to take your Social Security away. I have asked everybody up here at the Friday meeting to sign the petition. None of them would. As of about a half an hour ago, they were just short of 14,000 signatures. When I asked you to go to signon.org now, Villaraigosa, where you can write in a comment, I asked you to write in, you found out through HollywoodHighlands.org. Also go to the Barbara Boxer petition, which is on signin.org, Barbara Boxer. That petition is going to her. We picketed her office yesterday. We are asking her, there are no compromises about Social Security. We won the election, 53-47. And now the President of the United States is saying he's going to compromise with the right and give back some. I am interested not in just me. I'm interested in those babies, that those children can go on Social Security when they hit 65 or 66. HollywoodHighlands.org. No compromises on.
That completes our public comment for today. We thank the public for that. Madam Clerk, what's before us?
Mr. President, a special one motion has been circulated. The city attorney will speak to the findings.
Mr. City Attorney, would you please speak to the findings?
Thank you, Mr. President. I will recite the facts as presented to me by the maker of the motion for the council's consideration of the adequacy of the findings. Since the posting of today's agenda, city staff has learned that 2 locations designated for the winter shelter program cannot be used due to unfulfilled facility requirements. Immediate action is required to change the locations now due to the upcoming council recess. Council must first make findings pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.2 before considering the substantive motion.
All right, Madam Clerk, let's for consideration. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
14 ayes, so that's before us now. Does anyone need to speak to this? Mr. Miller approves it as well. See no speakers on the queue. This is a very good item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
All right, forthwith on that matter today, Madam Clerk, please. Thank you. Any other items before us?
Council has motions for posting and referral.
So ordered.
That clears the desk.
That clears the desk. Are there any announcements at this time? Announcements? No announcements at this time. I'd ask us all to please rise for adjourning motions at this time. I'm going to call on Mr. Garcetti first.
Thank you very much. And colleagues, we're joined here today by the Choi family and by our Consul General from the Korean Consulate, Yong-Sun Shin, and want to thank them for being here for this adjourning motion for Woon Sang Choi, a former diplomat who helped establish the first Korean embassy in Washington, D.C., who passed peacefully on September 5th after a long illness at the age of 87. I ask that we adjourn in memory of Woon Sang Choi. He graduated summa cum laude from Seoul National University and earned master's degrees from Georgetown University and Harvard University, and was the first Korean national to receive a doctorate from Harvard Law School. And it was in 1949 he helped establish the first Korean embassy in Washington, D.C., with former South Korean Prime Minister Chang Myon. He served as the vice consul in charge of the Korean consulate in Los Angeles from 1951 to 1953, and the Republic of Korea's mission to the United Nations from 1963 to 1967. He was also Korean ambassador to India from 67 to 72, Egypt from 72 to 74, Morocco from 74 to 76, and Jamaica and the Caribbean from 1977 to 1981. In 1954, during the Geneva Conference on Korean Unification, he was chief of the first section, Legal and Policy, of the Bureau of Political Affairs at South Korea's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. In 1969, South Korean President Park Chung-hee conferred upon him the Order of Diplomatic Service Merit Gwanga Medal. After retirement, he taught international law at Yonsei University, Kyunghee University, and Tokyo International University, and served as a foreign affairs advisor to former South Korean President Kim Dae-jung, and published several books on Korean history and international law. He's survived by his wife, who is with us today, In-young Kim Choi, by his children Veronica Krath, Irina Choi Stern, Peter Choi, Monica Choi, Anna Choi, and Michael Choi, who is also with us as well, and his sister Joanna Choi Kalbus, and 13 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren. A great man whose life we mark, whose contributions to this city and to this world and to his country were paramount. We ask that all of the city adjourn in his memory today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Garcetti. Mr. Weezar.
Thank you, Mr. President. And colleagues, it's with a heavy heart that I ask that we adjourn today's meeting in memory of a great Mexican and Mexican-American singer, Jenny Rivera. Many of you have heard throughout the media this past week that her plane went missing in Mexico, and she is presumed that she has passed. She was born on July 2nd, 1969, to the parents of Don Pedro and Rosa Rivera in Long Beach, California. A few months ago, we actually recognized her father, and Jenny was present to recognize what her father had contributed to the Mexican music and how he had contributed to many songs that have become popular. He was a great writer, composer, and artist himself. And Jenny sold over 15 million albums worldwide and was nominated at the 2003, 2008, and 2010 for a Latin Grammy. A successful regional Mexican artist and entrepreneur, she started many companies, including Divina Realty, Divina Cosmetics, Jenny Rivera Fragrance, Jenny Jeans, Divine Music, and the Jenny Rivera Love Foundation. The Los Angeles Times said that Jenny Rivera was many things: a banda singer with a nimble voice, a chronicler with a unique perspective from Long Beach, an advocate of domestic violence awareness, a reality show star, a symbol. Just last year as well, my colleague Tony Cardenas and I recognized her for her work with domestic violence and officially named August 6th Jenny Rivera Day here in the city of Los Angeles. She was a star whose appeal was expanding to audiences worldwide. She became the first female artist to successfully break through as a star in the male-dominated world of banda music. Jenny's talent, along with exuberant and straight-shooting personality, won her success on television as well, including the popular reality show I Love Jenny. Rivera worked as coach in the second season of the Mexican talent show La Voz Mexico, based upon the Voice franchise. At the time of her death, she was developing an English language television comedy for ABC. She also just began to forge a career on the big screen, co-starring in Philly Brown with Edward James Olmos. Edward praised her performance in the film, calling it Academy Award-winning caliber. Of the millions of her fans who will miss her, she plays a special role in Council District 14 as well. She once attended Wilson High School with some cheerleaders, and when Jenny found out that the Wilson High School cheerleading squad needed money to allow the students to compete at the national cheerleading competition, she came through with a check for $15,000, enough to cover all the students' costs. Before the announcement in August, Jenny surprised the squad by showing up at their practice, hanging out with them, and encouraging them to do well in school and to represent in Dallas, where, because of her generosity, they will be competing that January. And there are many, many stories like that where she gave to the community. In addition to being a successful artist and entrepreneur, she was also a staunch advocate for domestic violence, which led her to being named the spokeswoman for the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. When you think of all the things she did in her young life, breaking down barriers as the first female singing banda star in a musical style dominated by men, from all her successful business ventures, branching out into television and film, and advocating against domestic violence, one word besides unbelievably talented comes to mind in describing Jenny Rivera, and that is fearless. I don't mean fearless in the sense that she has none. When you're facing being a parent at age 15, when you're trying to break into an industry as a pioneering woman, when you're battling for the women's rights against domestic violence, there has to be some fear there. How could there not be? But Jenny's gift to us and her legacy will be about overcoming any fears and allowing her amazing talent to shine through. And because of that, we all are able to enjoy what Jenny Rivera had to offer us. And she offered us more than we could ask for, a life of music, entertainment, advocacy, and love that we all will enjoy forever. As I mentioned, she was killed when her Learjet went missing early Sunday after taking off from the city of Monterrey. Jenny was heading to the city of Toluca in central Mexico after a concert in Monterrey on Saturday night. Besides Jenny Rivera, 6 other people lost their lives in that plane crash, and we pray for them and their families as well. Jenny Rivera leaves behind her parents, 5 children and 2 grandchildren, 3 brothers, and a younger sister. She will be dearly missed by her fans, friends, and family. And like I said, she is one of the biggest stars that sings Mexican music, and she appealed most to young Latinas who saw in her someone who is not ashamed of moving forward and trying to attain their goals no matter what. I went to one of her concerts and I saw how much she inspired and was loved by her fans, and how much she was a role model for others to continue to find their dreams. May she rest in peace. The world of music and this world will certainly miss a great person. Thank you.
Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you very much. I had the pleasure and the honor to meet Jenny Rivera. Not only meet her, the first time I shook her hand is because she came to my district after hearing through the grapevine that there was a particular school where uniforms were a requirement, and many of the poorer kids didn't have uniforms. So she immediately contacted me and let me know that she would like to provide some uniforms and backpacks to the children. And I was very, very pleased to hear that she opened up her schedule. She went and she met myself and the community and gave out the backpacks and uniforms. And she stayed the whole time taking pictures with them and also speaking in Espanol and English with the parents, with the children, and certainly making them feel comfortable. And as Councilmember Huizar mentioned, encouraging especially the young girls, most of them were young girls who wanted to take pictures with her, encouraging them that they could do it and they could succeed, and she was an inspiration to them. And also, I'd just like to say that she exemplified a heart of gold and someone who never complained about all the things that she had gone through, but was always ready to impart some positive words on the young people. So I'd just like to say, on behalf of the people that she touched, that I was surrounded by, and everybody else, gracias, Jenny.
Thank you very much. Mr. Koretz?
I think just about everything that could be said has been said by Mr. Huizar and Mr. Cardenas. I just would point out that while most people think of her as living in Mexico, she also was a resident of CD5 in Encino. And her daughter recently opened a beauty salon in Encino, which was shown on her show. And so she will also be greatly missed in the community in which she lived.
Thank you very much. Ms. Perry?
Thank you very much, and I'd also like to add my words of condolence to the Rivera family. She was a great role model for women and girls. I'd also like to adjourn in memory of James A. Parker, father of caucus chairman Darren W. Parker, who passed away on Friday, November 16, 2012. James Andrew, or Judge Parker, was born on July 5, 1938, in rural Mississippi, and he attended local public schools, spent his youth in Gary, Indiana, and Chicago, Illinois. He enlisted in the U.S. Navy, where he traveled to the West Coast, met and married Kai J. Anderson, and from this union, sons Darren Wayne followed in 1960 and Darnell Anthony 16 months later in April 1961. James migrated to California, where he used the GI Bill to obtain training as an electrician and a sound technician with IBEW, resulting in journeyman status. In September 1970, the Parkers moved to Gardena, where they purchased a modest home and supported Maria Regina Elementary and Junipero Serra High School, where the boys were active as student athletes and scholars. James became a local activist, once transforming his entire backyard into a brick-lined mini farm, providing the local elementary children with an actual garden to improve eating habits and hands-on science unavailable at the time. He served as a Rec and Parks Commissioner and worked tirelessly to improve the facility and the grounds at Raleigh Park. And in 2000, even when his health began to decline, he continued working as an electrician with the Department of Health Services, Los Angeles County, until he retired in 2005. He spent his retirement involved in local government, assisting his wife in making their home a neighborhood icon during holidays by hosting pay-per-view boxing and events, political meetings. And in 2012, he was admitted to the Del Amo Gardens home care, and he passed with his wife and children at his side. He was passionate and was reverent to Holly Park United Methodist Church and to the Thomas Waller Lodge, number 49. He is survived by his two sons, the Honorable Darren Wayne Parker and Dr. Darnell Anthony Parker, Sister Nellie Ann Parker. One other is adjourning motion in memory of Alnetter Thomas Matoyer, born in 1917, died December 8, 2012. Alnetter was an only child. However, she was not spoiled. She had to work in the cotton fields and received her schooling in Louisiana. There were no school buses during that time. She always had to walk several country miles on rainy and cold days, where her father took her to school in a wagon pulled by a horse. Alnetter and Steve Matoyer were school sweethearts and were married in 1936 in Evergreen, Louisiana, and they stayed married for 52 years. Steve passed away in 1988. And then Alnetter went to Port Arthur, Texas in 1944 after her husband was drafted into the Navy. She had a job at the Texas company working in the kitchen as a waitress, and while she was employed there, she and her husband opened a nightclub called Blue Moon in Port Acres, Texas. She never met a stranger that she didn't like. After a conversation with you regarding your parents, where you were from, who you were related to, you were always welcome in her home. Serving good food was a top priority for all who came to visit her. She was a member of New Hope Baptist Church. She worked on the Golden Band Committee for Seniors, a member of the Auxiliary of the Royalist Civic and Social Club, a member of the Eastern Star Auxiliary of Port Arthur, Texas, and the Peace Officers Association Auxiliary, and the NAACP Regular with Crisis Team. She is survived by 3 daughters, Dr. Evelyn Matoyer Williams, Josie Mary Babino, Linda Faye Timmons, 2 grandchildren, 3 great-grandchildren, and a host of family and friends. And her funeral service will be held in Port Arthur, Texas.
Thank you very much, members. I ask we adjourn in memory of Leanne Kamola, who lived a very good life, but was very instrumental in her work with the Boy Scouts, Troop 26 and PAC 55. She helped administer many of the troops' functions, joining PAC family outings throughout Southern California. She also helped many young men get an Eagle Award from her troop, and in the last 30 years, always made sure they did their work well. She is survived by her husband Richard, her children David and Russell, and we ask we join in her memory. She truly was a great woman who made an impact on the lives of many. Madam Clerk, that completes today's meeting. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.